Get started early. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Atmo Insights podcast, where we're going to be discussing everything about the Daymar Rally. I have some incredible guests today. I have a man, Cor5air, obviously managing director of Atmo. I got Zul, the man of the comms, the man of communications, and I got En1gm4tic, our production director, producer, whatever you want to call it. En1gm4tic is here. So, but anyways, before we jump into it, guys, thanks for jumping in. How you guys doing today?
Not bad.
Doing all right.
Cor5air, muted. Can't hear you.
Yeah, can't hear Cor5air.
Do you have if you have vMix muted, make sure you unmute it.
Try again. Your mic's live. Interesting.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I got this connection issue with my mute on my headset, so yeah. Okay, cool.
Anyways, how you doing, man? You good? You good?
I'm good now.
How about you,
I'm good
En1gm4tic?
now, eh? Yeah.
I know you've been sick, En1gm4tic. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm getting along.
You need to come up, En1gm4tic. You're low for me, specifically.
Oh, check. Better?
Yeah, can you... Little better.
I'm
Can
a little
you come up
under
a
the
little bit more?
better. Yeah. I hear everybody double, by the way. Or like myself double anyway. Because I have to monitor the audio.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Anyways, guys, welcome. So how this is going to work is going to be very, very simple, okay? So I'm going to be going through everything about the Daymar Rally, all right? We're going to go through pretty much like Cor5air is going to give an introduction about what's the history of the Daymar Rally and what was this idea behind it. So that way, maybe that you guys don't know at home can know a little bit about the history, okay? And then we're going to be passing it around the room, all right, to everybody that's here about the process leading up to the Daymar Rally, because a lot of people don't know how much work we put into this, and I want people to know a little bit about behind the scenes, about what we have to deal with and what we have to put in order to get the results that we're getting in now. So, and then once we finish up with the behind the scenes of the process, then what we're going to end up doing is talking about race day. Come race day, what do we do? How do we prepare? And what happens in the servers? Or, and we can break it all down. Once that happens, once we get that breakdown, so everybody knows exactly what's going on behind the scenes, all of the Daymar Rally feedback and questions that you guys put in our Discord, in the feedback thread, I took a lot of main points out of those sections, and I will be going through every single one as quickly as I can. We're going to talk about things like what happened to a couple buggy servers, what happened with the Discord issues, what happened to the leaderboard issues, broadcast limitations. We're going to talk about every single thing at home so you guys do not miss a thing, a beat, anything. And then once we're done with that, answering all the main community feedback and frequently asked questions. Then we're going to leave it open to the community. The community will have anywhere between 45 to 60 minutes to ask questions on the Discord, okay? You need to be in our Atmo live stage if you want to ask questions. So if you want to jump in the Discord, !Discord, come jump in there, and you can come get your questions answered or whatever feedback you want to say. If you come into our room and you ask a question that I have already went over, I'm going to just kind of skip you on that one, okay? No hard feelings. I'm sorry. I just need to kind of keep things going if we have too many people asking questions. So let's get started here. The first thing that we're going to do is some introductions. And when you guys introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself that you that you wouldn't mind sharing with the people at home or with the people that are watching about yourself. So, let's start it off over here with Cor5air.
Hey guys, so I'm Cor5air, Managing Director of Atmo Esports. Created the Daymar Rally, which we're going to talk about in a minute as well. But yeah, like on a day-to-day, this isn't our day job at all. Most of us are volunteers. Some of us are retired, fortunately, which is amazing. But I'm not retired, so I work for a company in Australia. So I live down in Australia, and I nationally look after like graduation services and things like that down here, and that keeps me pretty busy. It's on a national level, so yeah, it's a pretty busy schedule. And then trying to work with these guys and get Atmo up and running and doing our broadcasts and stuff like that is just some huge part of my life as well that I really enjoy. So with those two big things, and I got 2 little girls as well, and it's a busy life, but I enjoy every minute. So yeah, it's very good.
That's good, man. Thanks for sharing, Cor5air. Zol, what about you, man? Give the people a little bit about you.
Hey guys, my name is Zul. I am Atmo's head cat herder, and most of you guys see me all the time on the Discord and answering questions and telling people what to do and yelling at folks. I actually am retired, and I owned my own gaming computer company for many years and retired about 12 years ago. I'm an avid motorcyclist and I have been motorcycling for the last 34 years. And pretty much I play video games all day long, and that's my life. It's just playing video games all day long.
It's a good life to have, man. I need to have that soon. Well, thanks, I appreciate it, man. En1gm4tic, man, give the people a little bit about yourself, man, and go for it.
Sure. I'm the director, producer of the broadcast in the background. It's going to be very difficult to talk because I can hear myself twice.
Yeah, bro.
Fine, just talk, man. It's all good.
So I run the directing of the broadcast. Anything you see on the screen is triggered by down here in the broadcast studio. So I have a whole couple of stream decks here that are my 2 workhorses, and basically we choose camera angles, we choose graphics on screen, we choose everything from here. Currently I'm based in Hawaii, but going back to the U.S. mainland soon. Hopefully production will get even better.
En1gm4tic, they said the stream can be a little louder. A lot of people have it maxed out. This is from our Discord. So if you can put up the stream in general a little bit louder. Yep. Let us know if that's okay, chat. For myself, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Crucian Gaming. I'm an esports manager in the gaming industry right now, so I work with a lot of big companies. So that's mainly what I do for Atmo. I'm the partnerships manager. I do social media. I do casting. I work with En1gm4tic on directing, pre-show, pretty much have my hands dipped in pretty much a lot of stuff, helping Cor5air with the back end, doing a lot of good stuff. So a little bit about me. I got some kids, man, a couple kids, they're pretty cool. I like them. They're all right. So and that keeps me busy. I'm a top 0.1% player in the world for this mobile game called Epic 7. Check it out. I don't know. It's a weird icebreaker, but I like it. It's one of my favorite things to do and play. So, and don't worry, guys, I'm not playing it right now. Okay, I'm concentrating on the podcast. So, but yeah, let's get started here. Thank you guys so much, for introducing. Now, this is to you, Cor5air. Can you just we know a little bit about how you started the rally, but can you go into a little bit more detail and kind of give us a bit more perspective about like what your vision with the rally was. Like, did you expect it to go to 4 different events after doing the rally? Like, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess not only the rally, but kind of how it evolved into Atmo Esports, because, we used to be the Daymar Rally team organizers, and then we started thinking about other tournaments. But before that occurred, the Daymar Rally was by far the biggest thing we had done, and it was doubling in growth every year. Spectators and participation was doubling every year, and, it was fast becoming one of the largest community events in StarCitizen, but not only that, the original vision was the original vision and how the rulebook is created is kind of it to be a final version of when the game's released, because obviously on early roadmaps they had everything listed as far as repair and refuel and all those things that we actually don't have yet, but the rulebook was designed around supporting that grand idea, that final idea of the game and the rally itself sitting in that game. And we'll go in and we'll talk about the addendum a little bit later, but basically the reason the addendum exists is because the rulebook is designed that way, so that it is supposed to be the final version of the game. Obviously I'm not going to know what vehicles they're going to release, and that gets updated in the rulebook, but that was the grand idea. How you see the rulebook now is the grand idea. There's the endurance side of the rally is obviously a major part of it. The fact that there's a team element to the rally is a huge part for me. I think that brought a lot of people into the game, that they could work as a team together and have fun together. I think that's a big part of the rally and why it is a little bit more successful than some other tournaments. But also, the checkpoints, the leader chaser mechanic, the refuel stations we want to get put in. There's still a lot to come for the rally, and and we introduced the Betty this year, which is a huge step for us. Last year we attempted it, but it was just quite difficult with the amount of servers we were trying to run last year, and trying to make it fair so that it was in the exact same spot and everyone was doing the right thing. So we were able to hone that down this year because the servers are larger. We didn't need as many staff to coordinate the Betty, but I think you'll see the Betty evolve quite a lot in the next couple of years. There's some cool stuff I think that's going to happen around that, and it will be designed to be a leader chaser mechanic. And what I mean by that is that there'll be not just a check-in there, it'll be more so like a mini game of sorts. I don't want to turn it into like a full-blown mini game, but like there'll be an element that you'll need to do at the Betty to be able to progress your race in the rally. And the whole thing about that is that to give some other teams a chance, you need to complete something else. And while you're trying to complete that task, it is giving teams a chance to kind of catch you up. Being an endurance race, being that far ahead in an endurance rally, like 100 kilometers ahead, like it's a once you're just in your zone and you're just traveling, like it just becomes the same kind of thing. So we want to introduce the more checkpoints with the refuel stations, and definitely the leader chase mechanic in the Betty, which you see in the rulebook now. It's just, and that's the way it was designed originally. So yeah, there's still a lot more to come for the rally. And I have noticed in the feedback that people are trying to understand the difference between the addendum and why it's not included, but there's a lot of reasons why, because the addendum really handles the bugs and the kind of current situation of the game, and the rule book is designed to be a final version of the rules. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, that's the vision of the rally, is to have those elements in it. And I really love the aspect of us having physical items based around the rally as well. Like, there is a physical rulebook. You can download that and print it, but if you go to conventions that we're at, you'll get a chance to get a copy of a physical version of that rulebook as well. So if you do come and visit us at like Con42, we're going to be at Con42. If you come and see us at CitizenCon later in the year, you'll be able to get physical copies of those rulebooks too, which are very limited. We only do that at conventions. So come down and see that. We have rulebooks for all of our tournaments, physical rulebooks for all of our tournaments. And I think that Atmo Esports has been, great at providing just those extra little pieces of excitement around our tournaments as well with those physical items. But yeah, like the rally became Atmo Esports, and we expanded to multiple tournaments. And it was our idea to have 4 major tournaments over the course of the year. And obviously, we couldn't be known as the Daymar Rally organization team once we had 4 different kinds of branding visions. So we became Atmo Esports to kind of put it into one umbrella and handle it in one space. So that's where we are now, and we're just trying to elevate with the help of these guys that you see in front of you. We're trying to elevate what we do here at Atmo Esports and just get better and better and better. So that's where we're at now, crew. That's where we're at now. So yeah.
Sounds good, man. So from the Daymar Rally now to Ammo Esports, and pushing the limits of every single event that we're doing, and pushing it to where and where people are like, damn, they just did that, so. But like, to
Yeah.
put in perspective, a lot of people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes, what we do, and all people want to think. I'm not gonna say this, but like, I'm gonna be straight up here. People think that what we do is easy. We've had a lot
Mm.
of people try. It ain't easy. I'm gonna tell you that right now, okay? So
No.
which is gonna kind of lead up to my next point here. The process leading up to the 2953 Daymar Rally. What happens behind the scenes? So this is gonna be an entire discussion with everybody here, and obviously I'm gonna have to start off with my man Zol here, because his process leading up to the Daymar Rally is one that is just it's a very tedious process. So Zul, I'm gonna ask you this, like, what has been your process leading up to, please do not get in onto race day. We're talking about before race day. We're talking about like the process that you've had to endure to get to race day. So tell us a little bit about that process and the time you've put in before the rally even begins.
So we start out by having the signups on our website. So you and your team go there to our website and you guys sign up showing your interest in becoming a part of whatever tournament comes up next, in this case, the Daymar Rally. Once our sign up process has a cutoff date, everybody who has signed up as interested then gets sent out a registration or a confirmation form. That registration form is saying, hey, you guys all signed up. You said that you were interested. How serious are you? Or if you're actually serious about it, here's this form that's going to detail everything that we want from you. Fill out this very, very much more detailed form than just the sign up process you began with. Once that happens and we've got all the teams in, we then have to set up another cutoff date. That cutoff date is the end. It's the date where we have to stop taking registrations from teams. And the reason why is, in the case of the 2953 Daymar Rally, we had over almost 800 people total that had registered, had signed up and then went through the registration confirmation. So what happens is all of those names and people, once we have that cutoff time, are then taken and put into a CSV, which is then sent to me. When I get this CSV from Corsair, it's essentially nothing but raw data. So if you went to our registration form and question 1 was, what is your name? Then essentially column 1 in my sheet is just going to be name, just forever and ever and ever. And that's it. That's all it shows. It doesn't tell me any context or anything. All it does is just gives me a name. And that form that you guys fill out all gets broken down into different columns of the CSV. So we then get this raw data, and this raw data is people misspelling their team names, people not knowing the RSI handle of their own teammates, and people not even knowing their own names sometimes. And we then have to take that information, correlate it, make sure that each team, that each one of the columns goes with its team, get rid of any extraneous information that may be in there, and then comes the fun part. Everything up to that was just the beginning. Then actually comes the main part of getting everything set up for the Daymar Rally. At that point, I then have to go through all 800 people one at a time, entering in their name to the RSI website to see if this person really does exist, what org they're a part of, are they actually, who they say they are, can I track them down, taking that link and putting that link back into the form, back into our sheet, so that all of our server leaders on the day of actually can click on these people and make sure that they are who they are. Then we have to take and separate all those things by the 3 divisions we have, which are bike, buggies, and trucks, set them all up so that they are in the right ones. Then we've got to figure out where you're from. You have a team of 4 people. Crucian is in the US, En1gm4tic's in Hawaii, Corsair's in Australia, and I'm in a different time zone in the US than Crucian is. So if we put in if it says, where are you from? And we put in Australia, because Corsair's the one who put in our team name, and he's the one that registered for us, then am I supposed to think that that team is from Australia, or am I supposed to think that that team is made up of people all over the world? And when it comes to where we're going to slot them in the server, are they going to be on an EU server, or are they going to be on a US server? Do I now put them in an EU server because the team leader said they're from Australia, even though 3 of them are from America, or 1 in the middle of the Pacific? Or do I take the combined places that they're all from and put them in a US server because 3 of them are going to benefit more from the US servers than they will the one guy from the EU server? So we then have to take all of those teams and where they're from and resort them again within the buggies and the bikes and the trucks to figure out who's going to go on on what region. Once we get to that point, now we come to the problem of server sizes. So as everybody knows, CIG upped the server sizes in the last year, giving us servers that were larger. At the time, we knew that servers could go upwards of 134 people, but we didn't actually know what that cap was. In other words, if I invite 134 people into my party and I hit launch, are we going to launch into a new server? So we actually tested all that on one of our last practices for the Daymar Rally. And by inviting a bunch of people and then just kicking people out over and over and over, we slowly whittled it down till we figured out that 110 is the largest server size we can have. So now that we've got all these 800 names, we now have to figure out how many teams, because not everybody signs up as a 4-person team. That would make it much, much easier. We have people that sign up as 2-person teams, 3-person teams, solo racers. You just really don't know. So we now have to take all of those and shuffle them in such a way that they still stay on the region that they need to be on, but the amount of teams on a server plus our camera person and server leader and security people, etc., equals 110. Because our goal is when we launch those servers, we want to make sure that server is capped at 110 if we can. Because if we can cap it at 110, then what it does is it eliminates the chance for bad actors to follow us in there and start, I don't know, maybe A2 bombing a server, just for instance. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that all of these servers are capped out before we go. Once that happens and we're happy with it, then we have to prepare, because we know teams are going to drop out because problems arise. People are going to get sick or have a child or move, or mom and dad just won't let them out of the basement, or whatever the idea happens to be, that people are going to start dropping out. So we now have to have people that are in there to be able to fill those slots. So this year we did something a little bit different. This year we actually took our registrations and we stopped them hard. And the reason why was we had to take all that stuff I just talked about and be able to filter it into all these different servers that we're going to do and figure out how many servers we're going to need. Because depending upon how many servers we need depends upon how many staff members we need, which means more cameras, more server leaders, more checkpoints. And what ends up happening is people come at the last minute, or people come after we've stopped and said, well, why can't you allow me? And this is the reason why. It's not because we're mean. I will tell you for a fact that Cor5air is one of the nicest people on earth. If it was up to him, we would allow teams to rock up on the day of and still get in there. But we just don't have the ability to do that because we have these things that we need to get around, work with.
Yeah, let me make a point there, right, real quick, and feel free, anybody else, to make a point there, right? Zul, like traditional esports, right? People can sign up until the day of, because all you're doing is jumping into a custom lobby. Let's say fighting games. It's 2v2 or 1v1, right? You have Call of Duty, which is 4v4, right? So everything's already in place. Custom lobbies, right? So signing up till last minute makes sense. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I come from the tradition of esports. I've been in this game for 5 years and I've learned a lot. So, but we don't have that, where we can just put everybody in the custom lobby and go, right? And set up and spawn their vehicles. We don't have that. So the reason why we cut it off by December is because we need to do all this shit to get ready for January. And then people don't understand that, and then they're like, yo, can I still squeeze in, bro? Like, And on top of
Yep.
that, right, making one more point, the reason why we don't charge money for entry fee in the Daymar Rally is because of the fact that we're playing in an alpha. That's why.
Right.
Nobody
And you
in
know,
heaven's hell should have to pay to play in an alpha. That's it. Well, other than,
and
I mean,
speaking
sorry,
of that,
compete in an alpha.
if we did
Go ahead.
charge an entrance fee, then the people who drop out and the people who don't make it and the people who don't follow the requirements that we set forth wouldn't be such a big deal, because if you have a financial investment in doing this
Yeah.
competition, then you're going to actually, you're going to go through the trouble of making sure. It's because we don't charge any sort of a entrance fee or anything that people feel comfortable just dropping out at the last second, because they don't care. It's no big deal on them, right? But meanwhile, we're left to scramble and try to get all this stuff done. The other big change we made this year, which I'm a huge fan of, is in past years, we would allow 4 people to sign up for a team, and that was it. You just 4 people. And then as we got closer to the rally, as I said earlier, things would come up and people would come to us and say, can I switch out this guy? Can I switch out this other guy? Half my team's gone. I'm the only one left. Can I bring in these other people? And in years past, we've sometimes allowed it and many times not, only because, going back to everything I talked about earlier about how much trouble it takes to get everything set up, when we get into those situations, attempting to switch somebody in at the last moment and get them with their team and get the role that they need and make sure that they're on our lists and the server leaders have sent them the friends request, all that different stuff we have to do is really, really difficult in the last minute. So what we did this year is we did something new, and we allowed what we called the alternate or the backup members.
Yep.
And we allowed each team to assign, if they wanted to, 2 alternate members. And we told everybody ahead of time, if you sign up 2 alternate members, you can only use these 2 people, nobody else. You can't bring anybody from the outside. So it's either your 4 team members or one of those 2 those alternates. And we had some teams take advantage of that this year, and it worked out really, really good. They'd get a hold and say, hey, one guy's having a baby, I'd like to switch in our alternate of blank. Then all I had to do, because all the information was already there for that person, is just go to the sheet, swatch them out, and they were good to go. It worked out really, really good. I know that we had some teams, and we'll probably be talking about this later on. I know we had some teams that were unhappy with cutting off, when the alternates could be switched out and everything. And I imagine that will probably be listed in a little bit. So all of that, in the end, is what it takes just to get ready for the rally.
Yep. No, thanks for that insight, man. And it's a lot, right? Putting together 8 servers with over 800 people and putting that in all one spot. So I'll jump over to you, Corsair, because I know, Corsair, you assist with a lot of the stuff, but anything else you want to add about your process leading up to the rally so people can kind of understand a bit there?
Yeah, definitely. Another thing Zool also does is, heavily connecting Discord to all the people as well, and their roles and their servers and all that stuff as well. So he's got to do all that after he's done the server rostering. And just another point on the alternates, and another reason why we wanted alternates was the server sizes are extremely important. So when teams are dropping out, it is also actually a problem for us too. So when you confirm your 4 team members, we really need those members to be on, because we really want to make sure the servers are as safe as we can make them. So the alternate rule that came in, which is a really good idea from Zool, was to be able to replace those people in a way that we have that information recorded, so that we don't have to muck around so much, like the day of or just before, which we just do not have time the day before to be changing too many things. And we've already delivered a schedule and an online roster, and your server leads that are connected to that. And that's one thing that I help as well, is with the schedule, the rulebook updates leading up to it, kind of help a little bit with rostering. Last year, the last 4 years, I've been in charge of logistics. So everything that Zool has kind of done this year, I used to do, and he's kind of taken that role, and he does it in a lot better way than I do, I would have to say. And one other thing that Zool has also done is deliver more information in the Discord area for you to access. So when you do ask questions, he's already got positions for you to just go and read and have a look for yourself, and it's in a more fine detail than just like a communique with him or myself or anyone. So that's another thing that Zul also does. He prepares a lot of information so that you don't have to. You've got access to everything, and it's not just the rule book and the addendum, which is another big part of my lead up to the rally, is the addendum. So we liaise with a lot of people, including Zul, and a lot of people who test, like people like Jed Heller, even community members, and Sanji, Sama, and people like that in the community, and they give us feedback on bugs they have seen, and we include those things in the addendum. The rule book and the addendum is kind of my space, graphically as well, not only as so much as a ruling on a particular rule that we want to put in, but part of the graphics and broadcast assets I help with as well. But yeah, the addendum is very important. So we spend a little bit of time, and that needs to be released at a certain time in conjunction with any known patches that are coming out. That's the difficult part for us, is the release of certain information around patches and things like that. And sometimes we get some approximate dates and we kind of have a little bit of an idea, but we still have to kind of wait for certain times for things to be released. And the addendum is one of those things. And even the roster is part of that too, because sometimes this year we thought it might affect the server, so we had to wait a little bit on the roster. So there's a lot of aspects in working with the game in alpha that does affect everything that we do to put into our schedules and addendums and rules and stuff like that. So my lead up is more looking at those particular things and helping with graphics, and just really just listening to Zul and answering any questions that people have as well, and making rulings on things and that kind of stuff, but just helping out in different areas. But I think like Zul honestly has the most intense part. His lead into Discord and talking to the community is by far the most time consuming part of what we've had to do logistically. I know what it feels like. I've done in the past. Zul helped me last year with comms, but now he's actually like involved with logistics. But yeah, that's kind of just my role there at the beginning of the rally. But it starts 6 weeks, 7 weeks prior once registrations are in. It starts at the beginning, like the beginning of the year too, like managing, because I actually manage the registrations. The registrations will come in. I'll log them into our campaign monitor. I'll shoot you out a confirmation email that you've signed up and you've registered your interest, and then I'll also handle the confirmation emails and those emails that you receive, those picture emails and confirmation emails. So that's also part of my lead up until we deliver the CSV that Zul was talking about too. So I do that as well. But yeah, that's the majority of what I do at the lead up.
So yeah, a lot of time from you, Zol, a lot of time from you, Cor5air, leading up to the rally. And by the way, if you remember what he said in the introductions, okay? Man got 2 kids, all right? Has his own job in real life, same as me. But no matter what, right? We're coming together for the community to put on one of the best events in StarCitizen, community events, not the best events, because obviously there's Jump Down and... But anyways, one of the best community ran events. You guys get what I'm saying. So, you know what I'm saying? So just soak it all in here, because, this is stuff that I want people to know, because, like, people are not empathetic at all. They think that we have all the tools behind the scenes. They think we could just turn on a switch and, hey, we get you in the, in the server and you can start racing. But anyways, we'll get to more of that stuff here in a little bit. En1gmatic, our producer production. Me and you work very, very closely, but, like, tell a little bit about, what you do leading up to the rally to get ready for the big show.
Sure. So my day usually starts before the rally anyway. It's like 2 to 3 months out is when
we're talking about before,
yeah. The 2 to 3 months out is like the day we get started for prepping, whether that be getting our assets, just designed and prepped. So we'll go through the previous rally years. We'll go through the previous assets that we have. Sorry, I have to wear my headset like this or hear myself. And we take the information and the data and the designs of our previously used assets, and we go ahead and incorporate any new design cues that we want into the new year. And that takes about 2 months. So we're looking at like beginning of December is when we finalize our assets and we get things moving. And then in December, it's all about setting up the vMix preset. We use vMix in conjunction with OBS to do the final encode. This goes into, excuse me, it goes into adding logos to all of our graphics, getting all of our social media graphics ready to be displayed. It goes into ensuring all of the functionality of the Stream Deck buttons work. And in addition, this year we added a second producer, Cryo. He's been absolutely indispensable and it's been fantastic. So this year we did a test and a trial run of a dual producer setup. Cryo receives about 8 to 10 cameras from our remote camera team and our featured Tobii Eye Tracker racers. And from there, I'm communicating with him the whole time during the rally, all 11 hours of our uptime. And we are talking constantly about, hey, what camera do we need? We're listening to the producers. But when we're practicing beforehand, it's all about understanding what we need to show on screen, especially during the pre-race preparations. It's giving a clue as to how to show everything that we need to. The multi-view that you saw at the beginning of the race, that was all prepped in December and tested beforehand.
I mean, more stuff there, right? So, En1gm4tic takes care of all that stuff, and me, like, there's a lot that I do, man. So I'll go over this a little bit, and I'll go over this very, very quickly. So, we have what? I'll talk about sponsors a little bit. So this will be like a sponsor plugin in a way, but we have 5 different sponsors for Atmo Esports, right? And then we have 2 community sponsors for the Daymar Rally, which was Ultimate Energy. Love working with Sajelian. Delta Blue, love working with Cheatly. So we have in total 7 sponsors, right? So my job before the rally is to make sure that all the sponsors are pretty much like, yo, you got your ads, I need it. You got your assets that we need to share, I need it. If you don't have an ad, I gotta figure it out. So pretty much like doing all that stuff with sponsor stuff. I do that before the big day. And I do that way before. I work together with Cor5air and my man Victor, who has, jumped on board to help us with graphics. Big shout out to Victor Hermes, who's helping us out with that, helping with graphics. So I'm the one that puts in the request for graphics because I know exactly what we need for the broadcast. And, while they're making these graphics, I'm the one giving the feedback. I'm very, very picky and particular about graphics. I work with graphic artists and I work with this stuff all year round with bigger companies. So I hold Atmo to the same standard, graphical would maybe Intel or Nvidia or whoever the hell I'm working with, Capcom for Street Fighter. Doesn't matter, right? I hold Atmo accountable at a high level because I want us to think at a high level. So that's part of my, my pre-show. And then my getting ready for the Daymar Rally. And then I'm working with En1gm4tic on top of that to get the pre-show schedule, to get, hey, this is interview 1, this is interview 2, this is interview 3, this is interview 4. All right, once the entire pre-show is over, let's educate the viewer. Let's talk about, the rules. Let's talk about the map. Let's talk about the betting. Let's talk about, so everything that you see, I already have scheduled months in advance, right, to get that show ready. On top of getting everything ready, I have to get, Detox informed. Here, Detox, here's what we're doing. Here's all the information, so like there's a lot happening, right? And this is all while Zul is doing the roster sheet. And not only Zul, but me is getting pings about the roster sheet for months. He's getting 80%. I'm getting another 20%. But a lot of people, something that people think that we don't do is talk to each other behind the scenes. A lot of people like to mom and pop. Right, Zul? Like, don't go to Zul.
Yeah, that is true.
No, fuck off. Oh, we'll go to Crucian. No, because I'm going to ask Zul anyways. So you guys need to think, man. Like, we talk to each other very well. We communicate, man. Go ahead, Zul.
One of my favorite ones is when somebody says, I know Cor5air, and I'll just send him a DM. I'm like, you just go right ahead. You just send
same response.
Cor5air that DM.
Go straight to Zul.
He just going to send you right back to me anyways.
Bro, it's so funny because when we get a DM, we just copy it. And I'm not saying that to embarrass anybody, but we copy it and we put it in our admin chat. Because the thing is that we like to we like to make sure each other has visibility. We don't make a decision. Well, sometimes we don't make a decisions without each other's permission in a way, right? Like, yeah, but Corsair's a managing director. I understand, but one team, one fight, baby, right? And when we're all putting in the work behind the scenes, we got to work in unison together. So we all communicate behind the scenes. And the last thing that I do leading up to the rally all year round, 2, 3, 4 posts a day, I'm the one covering socials, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on, hopefully I'll be smacking the community hub soon. That's me. So if you're getting responses, that's me. If I'm telling you off on social media, that's me. But I won't tell you off because, you know, I'm not trying to get canceled. But I'm just saying, like, it's, you know, all the stuff you see on social media, that's going to be, I'm the one that controls it. Like, I love social media, to be honest. I really like it. I feel like I know how to make my points. But, you know, obviously with a couple misspells here and there, that's my flaw. But I'm getting better at it. So a lot of stuff leading up to the rally. Zol, En1gm4tic, Cor5air, we all, except for Zol, we're unretired. I have a full-time job that, trust me, I don't work a regular 8-hour job. I work at Esports. This thing is moving like an F1 car. This shit moves like, Esports move like an F1 car. You can get as fired as quickly as you get hired. So, you know, like, I have to keep up with all this stuff on top of doing everything on the back end. Trust me. Just like everybody here, if my job was 100% ammo, man, this thing would be a fleshed out unit. But you know what? We can't, because everybody thinks that Atmo is like a big company and we're all making all the money behind the scenes. Look, no, we don't, right? Whatever Corsair makes in Atmo goes literally right back. All right. All the graphics you see right now, all because of your support, right? The leaderboard that we had, that we'll get into that a little bit, we got that because of all your support, and it's gonna get fixed. You know, we'll get into that. But the trophies is because of all of your support, right? We, like, everything just goes right back in for Atmo, for the community, not for us. It's for you guys. So we'll jump into the next thing here. But before we jump into the next topic about what we're gonna talk about of the Daymar Rally, ladies and gentlemen, we have to pay the bills. So let's get on over here. Let's talk a little bit first about our one of our sponsors here, Gamer Advantage. Obviously, you guys see the eyewear that myself and Zol are wearing. All right, you guys can. I promise you, man. I am not sponsored, but I've been working with Gamer Advantage for over 3 years right now. They make some of the best eyewear. I promise you, if you sit in front of this computer for more than 8 hours a day, if you're playing for more than 8 hours on the weekend, all right, trust me, I don't care if you wear glasses or not, get some Gamer Advantages. Watch what happens. Your mind is going to be like, what? Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I took a chance on Gamer Advantage because Brian was on one of the Daymar rallies talking about them, and he was so passionate. And that's the only reason why I even tried Gamer Advantage. And I sent him a thing afterwards. I'm like, hey, I'd like to try a set. And I paid for them myself. They didn't give them to me for free or anything like that. And they are the most comfortable. I suffer from something called photophobia. So bright light bothers my eyes a whole lot. And the blue blocking of Gamer Advantage allows me to wear these glasses that look clear without bright light hurting my eyes. And to me, that is the greatest thing I could possibly get, because the glasses I used to wear were a dark amber color and it looked like I was wearing sunglasses all the time. I love these things. I absolutely, when this pair goes bad or my eyesight changes, I will be buying another set of Gamer Advantage. I can tell you that.
All right, let's keep moving on here. So if you guys want to grab yourself, protect your eyes, right? I'm not talking about the glasses. Their lens technology, like Zol was talking about, is some good stuff, man. So if you guys want to check them out, gameradvantage.com, use code AMMO for 15% off. And guess what? We actually took the, what they usually do is give creators 10% off, and then you get a 5% kickback. We get no kickback. We took that 5% and said, can we just give it to the community? So we get 0 kickback. So that's why you guys get a full 15% off. So check it out if you want to. Next sponsor here, we got CLX, baby, our newest sponsor. And this is going to kind of tie in a little bit, guys, because CLX literally came in a week and a half before the Daymar Rally, right? I've known, we interviewed George. I've known him for a long time. And dude, he's been in love with StarCitizen for a long time. And finally, he called me and was like, yo, what's up? I was like, Atmos self, you know? So anyways, CLX are good people, man. Like, I wouldn't bring anybody on if they're not, like, creditable, or I feel like they're just trying to get a quick buck from people in the StarCitizen community. They actually care. They play the game themselves. They're in the community with you, literally playing, and you don't even know about it. So definitely go check them out, clxgaming.com, man. They have this PC that's like a 2-in-1. So if you ever want to, have a high-end build with a computer that can, play games and stream at the same time, that's the computer right there that you're seeing. It's called the CLX Hawthor, so you guys can go check that out on their website. So clxgaming.com, check them out. So, and then, but yeah, that's, and last thing, Enigmatic, our merch, man. Let's talk a little bit about our merch real quick. We got our Daymar Rally topography collection, our official collection. So this also helps support us. So, we're right now, we're in the process of trying to hopefully build a new back end for our website, try to get a new website going, hopefully an entire new database, so that way we can get things going. And hopefully, like, it's easier for you guys to sign up for events. So, go grab a piece of merch if you like it or not. The one that I'm wearing right now is cotton. So we have 100% cotton options. A lot of people were like, oh, this is, what's it called, Corsair?
The dye sublimation, yeah.
Yeah.
It's dye sub.
Oh, it's
yeah.
sublimation is I think it's 100% polyester. Like, where are the 100% cotton options? They're there. You just got to look them up. So, Shark merch in chat. Go check it out. Go grab yourself some merch. So, let's full screen here, Enigmatic, and get on to the next point. So, we're gonna move on here, and we're gonna talk a little bit about we're gonna talk about race day, because we just talked about everything we did up to the rally. So we're literally getting ready 4-5 months in advance for the rally. By the way, I forgot to mention one thing that Enigmatic point out, Corsair, is that we also had to do the fight or flight activation for Toby on top of CitizenCon for the Babbage Bash. We had to get ready for 2 events, literally
we had 3 tournaments
within 3 weeks of each other.
Yeah. Well, Hurst and Hurt Locker was just before that as well.
Yeah, too.
So, yeah.
So,
yeah, it was
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, man. So, there's a lot going on, and, people think that shit needs to run perfect in a game that's alpha. Don't get me wrong, man.
Yeah.
I love the community with all my heart. The reason why us 4 are here is because we love the community. Nobody can tell us we don't love the community, because, like, we put sweat, blood, and tears behind the scenes, and I just want people to understand that. So, leading up to the rally, I'm going to start off here with Corsair. All right? Corsair, day of the Daymar Rally.
Yep.
What are we doing there? Talk to me.
Well, for me, getting up at 1 a.m. to get ready for my day. It's a nice early start. We put it back a year, back an hour, which was great. So, it starts really early for me, and I know it ends up going very late for everyone else. So it's not like it's not fair on the other end either. So I'm not complaining, but it starts very early, and we have like an hour team briefing, make sure everyone's kind of some of us do even longer, but we kind of get everyone prepped, make sure they understand exactly what they're doing. But before that, we even have another briefing anyway. We have a big proper briefing before we go into Daymar Rally Day, which we didn't mention before, but we do that with the entire team. That gives everyone a chance to ask questions about what they should and shouldn't be doing. Zool also preps information for those guys too, so they can just read documents and things like that, which is incredible. But then on Rally Day, we make sure that everyone is still clear on their task. If they have any final questions, we get that organized. There's a lot of stuff happening with the broadcast side of things. I'll let those guys talk about it, but there's a heavy amount of stuff happening with those guys. But Zool and myself are setting up the server leaders. We're making sure everyone's got their staff on board. Very occasionally, we might have 1 or 2 staff members actually have to drop on the day just for personal reasons. It happens all the time. It's quite a large team. It's completely understandable that does occur. So sometimes we have to scramble and see if someone can fill in a spot, which we successfully do. And thanks to some of the other community members that help us with that as well. I think we had to plug 1 or 2 holes this year, but it worked out pretty well. So once that's all ready, we're already inviting all of our team members into our servers before we do the full team briefing. So I just start inviting people, making see I can get a head start on my server. As I'm part of a server leader team, I try to do the trucks, which is the longest division, so that someone else doesn't have to do that. So I kind of jump on a truck div and start getting my people involved. So I end up just on Daymar Rally Day, I become a staffer and I look after a server, and I will sometimes get messages about rulings, so I'll handle rulings. Final rulings will come from me on Daymar Rally Day if there's anything that kind of falls out the line, so a fence line decision, which happens quite a bit in this emergent kind of style of gaming, but also just because of the bugs and the things that we're trying to deal with, there is still a lot of adjudication to occur. So that kind of comes through me. Zul kind of handles a bit of that as well. And then yeah, we get ready to fire the guns on the rally and get it all underway. And then it's a big day. It's a big day. Everyone's tired at the end of it, but we love it. There's a lot of camaraderie happening with the staff on the back end. There's a lot of stuff happening with the community out there in the field as well. But yeah, basically I just become a staffer and just handle adjudication on rally day itself. So yeah, that's kind of me.
So even as a managing director, you're in the servers. You're putting in the same blood, sweat, and tears as everybody else. So that's why we love you. That's why you're kind of respected. I mean, not kind of. You are respected. Sorry for that.
Sometimes.
That's how we're winning. I love you, man. But anyways, let's jump over here. En1gm4tic, bro. The day of, you're losing your brain. You're pulling all your hair strands out, right? We're getting ready for the rally. What are you up to? What are you doing the day of the rally?
Sure. You and I, we wake up at the same time during rally day. It just kind of helps synchronize everything on the back end. So for that, I'm in Hawaii, so it was 2 a.m. for me when I woke up. The stream started at 6 a.m., so we're 4 hours ahead, making sure everything's all prepped and ready. Lots of coffee in the morning. Gotta wake up, but the first thing we gotta do is get all of our presets set up for Stream Deck, for everything for the audio mixer, and then the second streaming computer that encodes all of our data all to Twitch. And once all that's powered up, get a bite to eat, and then start working on getting our camera team into vMix. So that would be talking to Cryo, saying, hey, you have these X amount of cameras. Here's each and every one of their names. Just give them your data so they can connect to you. And we spend about an hour and a half working on that, just making sure that all of our cameras are in, because they're the most important part. If you cannot see the rally, what's the point of holding it, right? So we want to make sure that we get all of our cameras up and ready and up and available so that we can switch them anytime during the rally. The cameras, Zul helps me prep the cameras ahead of time. He lists out all the servers and he tells me, which servers don't have cameras, and I can assign the people that I know are going to be great quality, and also people who aren't going to be there for long get to go on the bike servers, the buggy servers, because they finish relatively quickly. 4 hours and 35 minutes is not, fast by any means in terms of just sitting around and waiting, but for a buggy it is pretty fast. So when the servers start to finish up, so bikes, when they finish up at the hour 20, hour 40 mark, those camera people have to then rotate all the way to either a buggy or a truck server, and that way we have extra coverage, and we're making sure we're getting all of the action, all of the Betty crossings, and all of the finishers. Those are super important because not only does it give you something to watch, but it also gives us the ability to triple and quadruple check times. Server leaders and everybody participating are required to put in times, but having an extra, instant replay recording of everything really helps us dial in all of the times and triple check, quadruple check, and make sure the top 3 of that server before that 1 hour timer starts are 100% in for their spots. And then I guess winding down is, I think we ended up finishing 11 hours after streaming, 11 to 12 hours.
About 10 hours and 45 minutes, yeah. About 10 hours.
10 hours and 45 minutes, give or take 15 minutes, But yeah, so after that 11 hours,
we've already been awake 4 hours before anyways, so.
yeah, exactly. So that's a 16, 17 hour day, and then you know, at that point we talked. Everybody here talked for like 10 minutes, and then we're just like, all right, I'm going to sleep. And that's Daymar Rally Day for production.
Yeah, it's funny when everybody sticks around. I just keep clowning Cor5air. He's like, "Are you leaving yet, mate? Shut up, dude."
Hey, man. I stay.
So, all right, Zol, man, leading up. Just remember, Zol, we're gonna be going over the community feedback and stuff, so don't say anything that's already there. But Zul, on the day of the rally, you already putting all this work to get all these servers ready. You know, people are being jackasses and not getting stuff proper, and you know, beyond, you know, all that stuff is happening. The day of, what are you up to, and what are you doing to get the rally ready to go?
So for me, I wake up 5 o'clock every day, or 5 a.m. every day of the year, 365. So for me, the rally actually started. Well, the rally for our team started at 10 a.m. I was up at 5 a.m. already on Discord, ready to go, answering questions for people. We were also using Gilded as another platform for our people, so I was on both Gilded and Discord at the same time, so that anybody, because we have people, you know, and people need to understand that one of the things that makes Atmo Esports great is that, as Crucian has stated before, we don't get paid. Atmo's not paid for my house. It hasn't paid for Corsair's either. You know, everybody who comes to Atmo and volunteers for us is doing so of their own kindness and their own time. And those people are scattered all over the world. So I try to make myself available that day so that when they get up, or in some people's cases don't go to sleep yet, they can come in and ask questions, make sure everything's set up the right way. When I jokingly say that, you know, most of my job is herding cats, it really is. So on the day of the rally, we need to figure out if anybody dropped out last minute, or if any staff members dropped out last minute. We had one guy whose mother became gravely ill. We had another guy who lost his power, you know, so those types of things happen, and we have to have stuff in place for them. So I get on very, very early, first thing. I'm very fortunate to have a very loving, amazing wife who brings me in breakfast while I'm doing it, brings me in lunch while we're in the middle of the rally, and brings me in dinner while the rally is finishing up, all sitting here while I'm trying to, you know, get all the logistics going. So what ends up happening is, as the day gets closer to the actual rally, we have to have, and we do this for all of them, and most people probably don't even know this. When you guys come to any of our tournaments or practices or anything, we actually have a 1 hour staff meeting before we have the briefing with the competitors. And that 1 hour staff meeting is going over what's expected. Does everybody have their roles? Does everybody know what they need to do today? Are you on the correct server? Do you have everything in place that you need to have, you know, ready to go in order to get all this done? And these volunteers, they come in an hour early, and they are going through all this stuff before Cor5air and I usually even stop with our first briefing and then switch over to the competitors briefing. So while all that's going on, they're getting everything ready in the background. When you guys see me and Cor5air rock up inside of the tournament stage to start answering questions and go through the briefing and everything, at that point, our team is already working. They're already in the back and getting everything ready to go, because we want to launch as soon as we can, because we don't want to keep anybody waiting. We're very, very aware of time. And I know this is something that comes up from time to time. We realize that our competitors are worldwide. We know that, you know, 10 o'clock in the morning is, for me, is actually 3 p.m. for somebody else, and 9 p.m. for somebody else, or 2 a.m. for En1gm4tic. So we really are aware of that, and we know how it works and how it sometimes affects you guys. All of our times that we put for starting these things, we try to do them to put the least impact on the most amount of people as possible, which is the reason why our times are always where they are. Stuff like the rally will move forward, you know, so that we can start earlier, because we know it's an endurance, you know, longer event. Once we get all that going and we start the player briefing, we pretty much go through the briefing in the same way that we do putting out the information of what's in the rulebook, what's in the addendum, and usually it's last minute stuff. Sometimes we try to have a little bit of fun with it. For instance, you guys may have heard me say, do not talk in public chat. multiple times, or we'll throw a little joke here or there. We don't want it to be, we don't want you guys to feel like you're being given information by a robot, but we want you guys to know that we put these things in place for a reason, and we need everybody to follow them. Once the player briefing is done, usually by that point in time, our server leaders have got everybody invited or are almost in the invite place. And then we go to this period of almost like CIG does with the go, no go meetings. Pretty much at that point, broadcast and production are talking to me. Server leaders are talking to me. Everybody's talking to me. And it's, are you ready? No, I need 10 more minutes. How about you? Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready to go. How about you? Are you ready? No, I've got one guy that just got kicked out and he needs to get back in. And what we do is we keep on filtering this launch window closer and closer and closer till everybody across the board says go, go, go. And then we hit it. And that's when we launch and get into the rally. And from the rest of it, you guys pretty much know exactly what happens.
Yep. Well, all great points. And let me add, by the way, like, this is just us, right? You got server leaders that are putting in work. You got camera people that are getting ready. You got, the reclaimer Betty pilots that are getting ready. You have so much in the back end that we still got to, to manage a lot of people, because us four are trying to orchestrate something that we do every single year, and it just keeps growing. And I love that it keeps growing because, we love that you guys are excited. We got a lot of new people, and this is going to lead me to my next point before I jump into my stuff. All right. Like, all of our work together, Enigmatic, let's take it to in the figures, because it's massive. All right. It's massive. So check out some of these stats that we're talking about. We've put this up on social media. Right. But man, like, it's absolutely nuts because, right. Let's talk about a bit about this. Right. We had a total of 766 racers. All right. A total of 1,000 plus participants. This is staff, security, racers, everybody. Okay. We have 145 rookie teams. So new people, right? New people. That the reason why we have Daymar Rally practices is so people can figure out our system and make it easier come race day. So, right? So we have at least 2 practices before the main event. You should try to at least make one of those, because that's going to make your life so much easier come rally. All right? We had 69 veteran teams, all right, with a total of 214 teams, as you can see up there, right? 48 bike teams, 131 buggy teams, and 35 truck teams. The reason why you see truck teams down is because the length, right? Buggy is that good middle ground where you're only going to race for 4 hours and not have a 7-hour race like the truck team. The bike team, right? I feel like the bike team is quick, but it's not easy either, because if you don't know how to race a bike, you're gonna explode and die. So that's why that buggy is that sweet spot there. So you guys can see we had, I think, over 39 countries represented this year in the rally, which is incredible. We had one team from India. We had one team from Latin America. Dude, I love seeing those numbers. I love seeing the diversity in the world. It makes me super happy. This is some of the most diverse competitive tournaments to me in the world. Having 39 countries participate in a rally, like, it's incredible, right? And this is all, I just love it, man. I love that all the countries are just participating. We had one person from China. I love it. So, let's get out of there. So, everything that we're doing on the back end, the entire team is putting that entire massive stat together. So that's going to lead me here to what I do, right? So what I do is that, like I said, on the day of the Daymar Rally, I'm coordinating with Zul to make sure to know, like, hey, are we on time? But at the same time is that the reason why we do a pre-show, is because they need time to get set up, all right? The pre-show takes anywhere between 30 45 minutes an hour. The reason why I want to do that is because I want to give community members a chance to speak. I want to give sponsors a chance to speak, for them to kind of put themselves out for the community, because I feel like it will make a better connection with you, the community, if they're up here talking, being a part of the show, being a part of the community. So that's why I love having pre-shows. And then the one most important thing why we have a pre-show is because I want to educate the viewers what the heck you're watching. If you don't know what the fuck you're watching, are you going to watch it? No. So I like to make sure I take time. What's the rally? All right. What are the rules of the rally? How long is it? Here's the course map. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you're looking at. You know, that's why I like to take that pre-show and, right, if servers are supposed to be ready, say, by 1700, my pre-show is going to start 1630 because that way, if there's a delay, then I have enough content to cover that delay. And this is all at the same time. We, like, work on the fly. And trust me, again, I'm very particular. I hold us to a high standard, right? And sometimes I can be an asshole about it. I'm being very honest. But the thing is, like, I love what we're doing here, that because I hold us to a high standard, I want us to, you know, like, have everything as a high standard. But at the same time, we're limited because we are doing competitive events in an alpha that has zero competitive integrity. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So, but anyways, any from anybody else, Cor5air, Zol, Enigmatic, any last things you want to throw in there about the day of that you may have missed or that you haven't talked about yet? Because, you know, while other people are talking, some ideas might pop up in your head. Any last words on that?
I'll say one thing. Yeah, I will say one thing. I know that when you guys see me on Discord, that my answers may come across as terse, or I may only give you 1 or 2 word answers, or I may seem to repeat myself over and over again. And it's not because I'm a jerk. It's because I'm trying to make sure that everybody has the information needed before we launch those servers. Because once we launch those servers, everything is out of my hands. At that point, it's all on our server leaders and it's all on you, the competitors, to know everything that's going on. Because if you don't know what's going on, then you're essentially going to war without a sword and shield and having no idea what to do. So it really is, you know, it's I really do want you guys to understand that when you see us answering questions on Discord and trying to make sure that you guys have the information, it's just because we want to make sure that you guys are perfectly set up for the day.
Yeah, you're moving fast as well. You got to answer questions as quick as you can. So yeah, that's another reason why they're short and sweet. So yeah.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense, right? One thing I'll say is that the Daymar Rally is for everybody. It creates emergent gameplay. All right? Grieve, even pirates are excited about the Daymar Rally. Even they want to participate, right? Like, they want to fight against security. Some orgs don't even want to attack the racers. They don't care. They just want to fight security and see if they can take them down, because security also trains throughout this entire process, right? So, you know, the one thing that I hate the most, and I'll be honest, I'm being honest, I'm going to put everything on the board. I don't care if I get canceled or not, all right? The problem is that we work all these months to put all these events for somebody in that roster to fuck up our starting line. That shit really irritates me, because this whole time we're setting up for 4 to 6 months. You're going to come on race day to mess up our starting line. Bro, I'd rather you be a pirate and try to get into the server that way, all right? And people want to, you know, bring in their own security and bring in their own stuff and bring in their own. Come on, man. Like, we work hard for it, all right? We deserve some type of level of respect for what we do, because there's so much, right? Like, there's another thing that we have to figure out, right? Like, the day of, Zol has to let some teams in, because number one, like, we don't want some teams to be pissed off and then mess up the start line. So we always have to figure out and think about the what ifs, because if they mess up that start line, they're going to put us back about 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of contingencies that you have to think about that a lot of people don't think about when they come and do stuff. Look, we're making emergent gameplay. The Daymar Rally will never go into a private server. And I can attest to that. With Cor5air, will the Daymar Rally ever go into a private server?
Nah, mate. It's emergent gameplay at its best.
So, pirates, people coming in, griefers are part of the gameplay, are part of the entire ecosystem of what the Daymar Rally is all about. So, if you don't like that, please just don't sign up. Because if you know, we try our best. Trust me, security tries their best. And we'll get into some other stuff to get everything, to make sure everything is great. All right? And they train per year. So anyways, now, this is the beefy stuff, and we're going to go around the room here for some questions. But this is going to be the Daymar Rally feedback and frequently asked questions. So I went in the Discord, and everything that you guys put down, what went wrong, the main points are here, and then ideas and suggestions for future Daymar Rallies are all here as well. I'm not going to do what went right because we already know what went right and what went wrong. So we just want to give you guys that feedback. After I'm done here, if you guys want to answer questions, jump into Atmo Live on Discord. Once we start asking questions, people can raise their hands, and then that way I can start, in inviting people to ask questions. So if you want to ask questions, it's gonna be in the Discord. I don't even have chat open right now. So if you're in Twitch chat, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. And again, if you guys want to help support us, we have the merch live. All right, we have some incredible sponsors here like Gamer Advantage, Toby Gaming, Thrustmaster. So we got some more stuff coming for you guys in the future. So thank you guys for your support. So let's get into this. All right, we're going to start with community feedback. All right, here's the subject: what went wrong? All right, you guys ready? Everybody ready? Cor5air, en1gm4tic, Zul, you guys ready for this? Okay. All right,
We're ready.
What went wrong? All right. This question, I'll call out the name. Please make it brief. We have a lot of stuff to go through. All right. We're kind of on time, pretty good with the schedule. A little like 3-4 minutes ahead, so we'll kind of get it going. Just keep it brief. All right. If there needs to be elaboration, we'll elaborate, but let's try to keep it as brief as possible. Okay. So if I cut you off, that means you're kind of going into the weeds a little bit. So, okay, buggy server number 5. All right. What happened here? And Zola or Cor5air, y'all pick whoever wants to go first. What happened here, and why was security team pulled earlier than requested, or earlier than the 1 hour timer, or whatever it was? Who wants to go first?
You want me to go that one, Cor5air?
Yeah, go with that one, Zul. You got more info on that one than I do. Yep.
Okay, so pretty much Buggy Server 5 was attacked pretty heavily at the very beginning by an A2. That pilot was pushed off the pad by one of our server leaders who was running that server. From that point forward, that pilot came back with just an infinite amount of A2s. We don't know how in the world he had so many, but the guy had a billion A2s and he just kept attacking the racers the entire time. Security did an amazing job. They really did a great job of keeping the server running and not just being flooded and killed. That server had a bunch of problems. When it got towards the end, there was a miscommunication between the Atmos staff and the security people, and the security people ended up leaving. I've got 2 different reports. One report is that security was there the entire time till it was done and told to leave by the server leader. And another report was that they were told to leave 10 minutes before it was over because the countdown was almost done, and that's what happened. And that's pretty much it. But they still did a good job and kept everybody from, being just completely wiped out.
It could have been wiped out completely.
So,
yep.
Yeah, so, but still some people got to finish on Buggy Server 5. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So, we got security, a little bit miscommunication, obviously, because we have 8,000 servers happening right now. Cor5air, anything you want to add to Buggy Server number 5?
No, Buggy 705. I was, because I've been running a server, I was only brought in to a couple of these particular server issues to make an adjudication. That particular one I was not. That was just that was just something that had happened and was reported back to us. So Zul was the one who's actually sitting outside the servers and listening to this information. So Zul he's not running a server on the day. He's off the tools so that he can support each server and deliver information to the broadcast when necessary. So Zul was looking after that one. I was brought into another question that we're going to get up to soon, and I can answer that one in particular, but not number 5.
All right, cool. We had some issues with Buggy Server number 2. All right, apparently there was some competitor that flooded the server there. Cor5air, all this is for you guys again.
Yeah.
What happened with that Buggy Server number 2? Go ahead, Cor5air.
So real quick, there's a tiny little bit of history around this kind of situation. Often we'll get requested if a team can bring in their own security. The answer is straight up no. If that was the case, we would have roster issues galore. We wouldn't be able to control anything, and it'd be an absolute shit show. Everyone would just be doing whatever they want. People would think that they weren't going to fire on the wrong people, but they would, and then it'd be an absolute crazy mess of a thing. So the reason why we have a security team is that is a one large coordinated team. Not everyone can do everything perfectly. It's a huge task. They have a lot to deal with as far as looking after the races and the back end. In particular, we had this particular incident. It was requested beforehand that this particular team could bring in their own security. The answer was no. This particular team did bring in someone. There was an initial report received to me that there was some attacking going on. We later found out that there may not have been. It was on some other particular thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, we said no. The ruling is no. We didn't want it, and it will result in a team being disqualified that was in conjunction with that particular team that came onto the server. In the future, the same result would happen again. We would do the same thing again. That we said no. You knew we said no. You knew it's a rule, and you came in anyway. So even if you didn't cause any damage, it was still something that you were blocking our security from getting back into the server. You were limiting our people getting back into the server, and you know, we can't control anything if you're taking stuff into your own hands. So teams will be affected and disqualified if that occurs.
And this leads back to the entirety of why I wanted to structure this like this, because we talked about everything we did 4 to 6 months before the rally happens. For someone to disregard what we wanted to, disregard when we told them no. This is what happens, bro. You kind of like kill the vibe for that server and all the 4 to 6 months of work that we've been putting in. So just think about it. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. I just want you to think about it. Zol, anything you want to add to that one, or that's good?
What I would say to that is that our security group, which is Walkers of Sigma, trains for as many months for the Daymar Rally as we set up for the Daymar Rally. So they train ahead of time 4 to 6 months. They bring on a whole bunch of other security-related organizations, and they train for the Daymar Rally specifically by doing a billion different things that we can't even talk about for operational security. When it comes to a group, any group at all, wanting to bring in their own security, what happens is you're essentially disrupting all of the hard work that they've put in to try to get ready for protection. The other big problem is, and in this particular case with Buggy 2, the other big problem is that when that organization shoved their own people into Buggy 2, they pushed out staff, security, and competitors from that server that were supposed to have slots in there. Remember when we talked about earlier how we try to cap the servers off with exactly the right number of competitors and staff? So they shoved those people that were supposed to be competing out of that server and caused them not to be able to do what they came to do. So all of their practice they'd done for however many months they had also got put to naught. And same thing with our staff and our security, that had practiced to protect them. So what ends up happening is, because the security has a list of who's all on the security list, and they also have a list of all of our competitors, all of a sudden this other force is a bunch of ships that are not part of security and not part of the competitors. Therefore, they're automatically on the cost list, which is the kill on sight list. So when security goes and attacks these people and they're complaining about, why are you attacking us? It's because you're not supposed to be on the server at all. And since you're here, you're fodder. In this particular case, our server leader communicated with the security team and they were able to stop the attacks on the people. We ended up asking them to leave to make room for those people that were supposed to be competing to get back on the server. It ended up being all right, but the damage had already been done.
All right. Appreciate that. So there you go, guys. Those asking about Buggy server number 5, what happened? Buggy server number 2, explained. Anything else? We'll just hit us up on the Discord. So anyways, moving on here. Discord issues, right? What happened with the Discord and why couldn't we use it properly? And what solution did we come up with to keep things on time? Zol, that one's for you. Please keep it brief. Please keep it simple. Go ahead, man.
So from the moment that Atmo moved over to Discord, I knew that we were going to have to make some concessions to try to have the same features we had on Gilded. A gentleman who made a bot that creates little rooms for you to kind of go in and that disappear after you're done. He created a bespoke version of that bot specifically for Atmo. That bot allows teams to essentially create their own section that has their own channel category and 2 channels inside it, one text and one voice. we wanted to train all of our competitors to use that because it makes it much easier on us than me having to go through and create 214 channels. So it was a laziness thing on my part, or time saving, however you want to look at it. This bot is amazing. Mayho, who's the guy who creates Curator, he's amazing. He did everything I asked of him and kept on iterating and making the bot better and better and better. Come the day of the Daymar Rally, we've got everything in the bag. We know exactly how it's going to work. All the teams are going to go to their own channels. I'm going to do a broadcast, which will do the countdown across all channels. It's going to be amazing, except for the fact that I am not a Discord guru, and I did not know that Discord has a limit of 500 channels. Well, think about it. 214 teams, each creating 3 channels, a category, a text channel, and a voice channel, equals 630 some odd channels. So the problem is it could not do that. So what it did is, and that's not even counting the channels we already have in there ourselves. So once it got to that limit, it just didn't let anybody create anything anymore. So we were not prepared. I was not prepared. I apologize profusely on that. However, I'm not a dumb guy, and I very quickly started working on solutions. Now, since we knew we couldn't get anybody in there and we still needed to do a countdown, originally what was supposed to happen was we were on Gilded. All of our staff members were on Gilded doing that for communications. Crucian was going to come in and use the broadcast feature of Gilded in order to count down with my text countdown at the same time so that it would be seamless across everything. Unfortunately, none of that happened at all. And what we ended up doing was I went into the stage channel that we use for the pre-race briefing, invited any teams that wanted to send somebody in there to listen to me count down. I then did a countdown across both Gilded and the live stage channel at the exact same moment so our camera people could hear and do the chaff. Now, I will say that the countdown, actually, I think we're going to be talking about the countdown in a few minutes. So I'll leave that one alone and just say that's what happened to the countdown on Discord. And that's the measures we took to try to get around it. Now that we know, Crucian is going to reach out to all of his contacts at Discord and try to get our server moved up to 1,000 channels max. So hopefully next year, we will not have this problem again.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. So
fingers crossed.
Well, but they should be able to do it. So let's get it going here. Leaderboard issues. All right, Cor5air, I'll leave this one to you, my guy. What happened? Why the ship broke? Why is it ass? I'm just kidding, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, look, just to preface everything that we're doing, obviously StarCitizen is an alpha, and Atmo Esports is riding that wave of the alpha and always trying to add different things to the broadcast. We're always trying to create a new tool or make a tool better than what we had, and in this instance it was very much in that respect as well. We had a change of creator for the leaderboard. We had 6 weeks to put in a new one. There's a guy that I knew that could do it really quickly, really cheaply. I think like 6 weeks wasn't a long time from conception, brief, creation, test it. Like it's a short time period, right? And and we got it completely made. Like there's a good admin channel for it. There's a good overlay for it. We did we had it live running at the practice beforehand, but we just did not test it on 214 teams with 10 admin users, punching in data for all those teams at the same time, and that server that it was sitting on reading all that data at the same time. Now the person who built it was in bed at 1 a.m. in the morning, so when we saw the error, contacting that support was a difficult thing to occur. We since found out that we needed to up the server that it sat on to be able to support the amount of entries that we were putting in, the amount of teams that were supported on the back end of it. If we had known that we needed to pump up the server, we would have tested the 214 teams getting plugged in on a much earlier time period, and it probably would have been fine. So it is there. It does work. It's just that we have to solve the RAM speed issue on the server that it sits on. It's cloud-based software, and then we would be fine in the future. We've since even had more discussions and more ideas about where we'd like to go with the DR leaderboard. But technically we've got it. We just had that major issue on the back end for it to host and handle our actual inputs. So then we just couldn't get it running because support wasn't available at that time. I was devastated. It was extremely unfortunate. So for that to occur at the start, it was a bit of a crappy start. But yeah,
I do want to add one thing, if I can.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Just real quick, when that happened and the leaderboard failed us, our server leaders were instructed immediately to start keeping distances and times on their own sheets. So for those of you who did not win first, second, or third place in all the different divisions and are still waiting on us to give you the full list of all of the positions where every team got, I promise you it is coming. However, because we had 8 people from different parts of the world, all of them put in all of your times and distances in their own local time zones, in their own formats, in their own ways. So trying to take all of that and untangle it into one cohesive list is what is taking us that extra bit of time. So I ask you please to be patient with us, because our server leaders did an amazing thing, you know, bouncing back from the leaderboard failing and being able to get all that stuff in. So I ask you guys to have a little bit of patience with us, and we will get it out there.
Yeah, and that's on me. I am producing that document. I've just moved house in this last week, so it is actually a matter of life getting involved in getting that created. So I've got the rest of today to do it, so you will see it very soon, just so you're aware. But well underway. But like we've said before, none of us get paid. We're just trying to fit in what we can with our lives, and I'm currently trying to do that as well. So yeah, we got the winners out there, which was the important part. But I know everyone wants to see their times, and that's all coming. It will be with you very, very soon. So just hold on.
Last thing I'll add is that y'all may be talking about the leaderboard and saying that it didn't work, and saying that, oh, like, all I'm going to say is that if you're a racer, you shouldn't be looking at the stream. You should be concentrating on your race. Like, I appreciate that you want to know where you're at in the leaderboard, but you should be concentrating on your race, my guy, okay? Like, you shouldn't, like, if you have I get it, if you have the Twitch broadcast up and you're listening while you're racing, that's cool. But you shouldn't have to worry. Worry about your race, my guy. Worry about the people in the skies. Worry about you and your team. But I'm going to tell you right now, nobody beats up themselves more than us on the leaderboard. Trust me. Like I said it before, I hold us to a high standard, and that shit is unacceptable. And I just wanted to throw something and punch something. And during the entire broadcast, my internet's in and out. And I just wanted to just combo break something, you know. But you know what? We got to keep it going. We got to keep the show going for you guys, for the community, for everybody. So trust me, nobody's beating themselves up more than that man, and the other man over there. So just saying, we want it to work. We have a lot of time before the next rally. I promise you 1,000,000%, I will sell you my house if we don't have a proper leaderboard by the next rally. All right, I'm selling you Cor5air to. I'm going to bid you to the community,
though, right?
So we can.
You're not going to give me a house.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to sell me.
Cor5air's moving to America.
I'm gonna do something critical if we don't have a proper leaderboard by then, bro. I'm gonna do something
100%, man.
So, anyways,
we pushed it hard to try and get it done, and yeah, we just didn't quite make it. But yeah, unfortunate.
It's all good. All right, next on. All right, this is mainly for me, broadcast. Not enough spend time, and En1gm4tic can jump in for a brief second in there if you want to. Not enough time spent in focusing on all the divisions, bro. You have no idea what the hell's going on in the back end, my guy. We have so many cameras. We have so many feeds. All right. And this is going to tune into another question that actually, let's put it together, right? We are limited to how many people we can have on a camera. All the camera people are online, different places around the world, being either attached to En1gm4tic or being attached to Cryo. All right. We're limited to bandwidth. So Cryo can probably hold maybe 10 to 14 cameras. And then En1gm4tic, not only does he have maybe 6 cameras he's running, but he also has to deal with replays. And the replays literally go into entire time, right? So how the replay works is that it's just writing data into your what do you call it? Your M.2 into your hard drive, literally recording the entire stream just so he can go back on 4 cameras and replay that stuff. So, dude, we are limited capabilities, right? And we're kind of getting better at it because when we get support from the community, we can buy the equipment to make things better for you guys. So that's why you see production leveling up every year, because when we get your support, we put everything right back for you in the community. So which in turn leans can En1gm4tic, real quick, what happens if we have too many cameras or too many connections to vMix?
Sure. The amount of data that each camera puts out is anywhere from 2,800 to 3,000 kilobits a second. That's what we ask for from the camera team. And across 15 cameras, plus the 3 we had extra for the Toby featured racers, that means we had roughly 5 or 50 megabits a second coming in at once. That's a significant chunk of data that's coming in from several different places. If it was all coming in, like say you're doing just a regular digital download from something like Google Drive, it's really simple because it comes from one server. But because you have all of these connections coming in, spread across all the different ports, there can be issues if ports are not separated far enough. And we try to reduce the impact of that by using a protocol called SRT. It reduces compression, reduces compression issues and lost frames, and we have a bottleneck of the amount of cameras we can use, not only because of the network limitation, but also because of the hardware limitation. We have to decode all of this data, which is all H.264 data. We have to decode it on site, which Cryo has to do most of that because he had about 10 cameras, so he has to decode all that and then send one feed directly to me. We're working on getting hardware decoders, but they're expensive.
Yeah. By the way, not only you're uploading 50, but what is that doing to your hardware at the same time?
Exactly. It's got to encode data, encode the stream in H.264, which is not efficient by modern standards. It's very process intensive.
Yeah, so easy.
And it's old.
So easy terms. Imagine you streaming 15 Twitch streams at the same time. Think about it. At 3,000, 1080p, all at the same time.
Open 15 Twitch streams at once, and then hopefully it doesn't buffer.
Yes. So, yes, correct. Anyways, moving on from that. Party markers. Cor5air Zol, briefly, let's continue punching this. We're a little bit, tiny bit behind, so let's keep going here. Party markers, it made it hard for people to see, report distances. You know, like, just talk about that. What can we do about it? Can we even do anything about it? Because I just, it was up there, so honestly, I just want to, go for it.
Yeah, I'll take that. So, we have had this system in place pretty much since the beginning, and one reason why we have server leaders monitoring, or we used to have one person, but now we have every server leader monitoring the distances coming in. That not only is the distance coming in from them, but we are actually checking the distances on the back end in the admin section as well. So even if you're not submitting a time, like we're still checking, submitting a distance, we're still checking your distance and finding where you are if you're having difficulty with that. The amount of competitors we have on a server now is different, right? We've just increased from 50 to 110 people on a server. It's definitely worse than it was. We try to alleviate that with a box and a party person as well, but also your support crew is always has been an integral part of you actually finding the next checkpoint. It isn't technically relying on us to do that. In the future, you will need to find the checkpoints on your own, and that's actually what we tried to introduce with the Betty as well. We were not even going to list the Betty marker person at all. You had to find the Betty on your own. It was going to be a leader chase mechanic, so it's slightly different, but in the future you will have to find all the checkpoints on your own, and you will need to be ready for that. And it is in the rulebook, and it is about you using your support craft to do that. If you're a solo racer, good luck to you. That is something you will lose being a solo racer. That is completely up to you. That is a decision that you will make, but they're an aid for you. That in the future they will not even exist. You will have to find your checkpoint markers yourself, or with any luck they'll bring in the land-based compasses for ground vehicles, and that will assist you in finding your positions as well. But you shouldn't actually rely on us. But for now, you do have to submit that distance to us, and we have server leaders to monitor your distances and check against their server list, who's on their server, who's racing, and what they're missing. So they'll go and find out who's missing from their list. They'll go and use a camera member or another party member or a security member, which can help us sometimes, and we'll find out your distances as well to just update what we were trying to do with the leaderboard. We didn't have to do that. We just had to record the distances for this one because the leaderboard dropped out. But technically, in the future, they won't even be available to you. It is just an aid, but you should be using your support crew to find those particular checkpoints. Yeah, it's difficult right now. It's harder than it ever has been, going from 50 to 110. There's not heaps we can do. We did discuss putting something further in the sky above the checkpoint for future rallies, so that there's a marker that is separated from the group. But when you get to Eagle Flats and you look across the curvature of the moon to go to Kudra, you've got a different problem when that happens. So it might still work with that rise, but we have to do it against the curvature, so we have to find that position as well. It's something that we could do in the future, but ultimately you shouldn't actually be relying on the party markers. I know that we want you to record your distances. We will want to overcome that in the future as well, where we can completely control that. But right now, our best solution is for you to record it, for us to check it, still have those party markers available to you. We will probably make the change where we'll have those aerial markers that are separated from the group. I think that's probably the best result we can do right now. Yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I see it right now. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. I'm going to move on from that. You explained it pretty well there, and I'll give this one here to Zul. Q&A during the brief. That Q&A was apparently too long because people are actually questions that already had answers, because they just show up today and think that they can just ask all the questions in the world. What can we do to shorten that process? What can we do to shorten that process in the future? To shorten that Q&A question during the brief, Zul.
So it comes back to what I said a little bit earlier. I know that we need to keep moving here. I put out information nonstop. In fact, I put out information so often that some people get a hold of me and say, please stop tagging DR all the time. You're annoying. Stop it, stop it. And I said, no, not going to stop it, because I feel that everybody needs to have the information. And if it annoys you, that's just too damn bad. I'm going to keep on putting the information out there so that everybody has that information. Now, when it comes to the day of the rally and we do the pre-race briefing, you're right. You're exactly right. People should not be asking questions. The problem is that we don't have some sort of like a green room where we can ask people ahead of time, what question are you going to ask? In the future, what I can do is I can just simply answer every single question that has been covered with, it's already been covered, and kick them off the stage. Next one, it's already been covered, kick them off the stage. And we can do that for a while. The problem is that we do want everybody to have a chance, and the people who have done the job of reading the rule book, the people who have done the job of reading the addendum, the people who have done the job of going through the FAQ should not be penalized by other people being too lazy or just too much of procrastinators to not do the job. And that's simply it. So what we will do is, in the future, I will continue to annoy the crap out of you. I will tell you over and over again what the information is and what you should be looking at ahead of time. And the day of the tournament, when we go to do the pre-race briefing, if you ask a question that I've already answered, especially if I've answered it multiple times, it will just be already been answered, and I will kick you out of the stage. And that's what we'll do from now on.
All right.
We'll point you to the source. We'll point you to the source of the information, and you can read it in your own time. That's all we should really be doing. It's all supplied. It's all there. It's all available. Just to speed that up, we will do a succinct briefing with less questions, and then just point you to where you need to go to get that answer, instead of spending more time going into a little bit of the weeds with people. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea at all.
And people were saying that the info wasn't all in one place. We literally have a 2953 Daymar Rally tournament info official with the entire rule book, and
it was all in there. So essentially, I will speak to that really quick. I will speak to that very, very quickly. We had three sources of information. All three of them were all underneath the tournament. One of them was the FAQ, where people could ask questions and then get them answered by an official, and then it would get a check mark letting you know that an official had answered it. There was the announcements, which I don't think that all of the information for the rally should be in there. That's the reason why the only thing that was in there is things we wanted to announce to get your attention. And then the actual info was underneath info. And that's it. There wasn't multiple places. There was just three things that you would ever get tagged at.
Yep.
But at the same time,
easy money.
At the same time, the rule book, the addendum, and that channel should actually have everything that you need if you read it. Like, you do have to do a bit of reading, but that makes you a better racer, to be honest, if you do that. But it's all there.
Yep. Thank you, guys. All right, moving on, and I'll answer this one to kind of keep things going. No Australian servers. Look, we've always, no matter what, have done our events in Europe servers. It works the best between everybody. If you're in Europe and you're in an EU server, that's where you're gonna get placed. The only way we're gonna ever have an EU server is if we can fill an EU server. We're not gonna fill an EU server for one person, my guy. For an AU server, an Australian server for one person. I'm sorry. Like if there's 3 people, we can't fill a server. We have to put you where we got to put you, because a lot of the Daymar Rally, signups are from either America, Europe.
I'll say one thing though. Australian teams have grown substantially. I'd probably like to thank maybe Jet Hella for that, but we had 10 Australian teams this year. So if you keep going that way, if you keep rising your teams, we could actually definitely have one. So 10 teams coming out of Australia this year is pretty impressive. But like Chris said, EU works best across the board.
Yeah, it's not even Australia. It's an entire APAC server. Like we can have APAC. So if you're from Japan,
and Asia,
if you're from Korea,
that's right.
So it could be an entire
Chinese
APAC
team,
server.
So.
Yep. And I do go through a lot of trouble to try to place teams on the server that will make the most sense for them. I really do. So I'm not taking somebody who's in Russia and throwing them on a U.S. server just to be mean.
No.
But you know what? If you know you're gonna have a high ping, don't practice in an AU server. Go practice in an EU server because you know you're gonna be there.
Yep.
To be honest.
Yep.
Maybe they didn't know that, but if you know our events for a while, go practice in an EU server so that way you're used to the ping. All right, next, coming up here, 1 hour rule. All right, so all servers after first, second, and third place finishes, 1 hour timer starts, and once that 1 hour timer ends, that's it. Wherever you're at in the server, that's where your final distance is. Why did we implement that rule for this year's 2953 Daymar Rally? I'll start off. Whoever wants to go first, Corsair or Zol.
I can answer that one. So it boils down to the fact that our staff members are up for an exceedingly long period of time on the day of the rally. And at some point, all of them want to get on with their evening, day, breakfast, dinner, whatever it happens to be. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep our crew from having to continue to broadcast for 15 hours as one very, very stubborn individual decides to run his way across all of Daymar. Because at that point, we try to stick with those people, and it's not fair for our staff to be penalized after the amount of work they put in order to not get a chance to get off. So what we did, go ahead.
Give me a second, Zol. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing about that. So what it really boils down to is that at that point in time, 1 hour after the completion of every server with a first, second, third on every server, you're not at a competitive state. If you want to be included in the listings, then you need to practice more and be better. You need to be at a closer time for it need to be considered. Happy for you to just stay on the server, finish your time, get that recording for yourself as a PB for you, but it's not on us for it to. It's not at a competitive state. So that's why we have the 1 hour rule in.
Anything else, Zol?
Nope, that's good.
All right, cool. 1 hour rule. We like our time as staff. All right, we shouldn't be there for 24 hours streaming it because maybe you didn't practice. I'm not saying you shouldn't practice. You should practice. I'm not saying everybody has time to practice, but respect our time as well. We've already been putting in the time 4 to 6 months ahead of time. So we respect your time, also respect ours. All right. Armistice zone. So I'm gonna explain this question real quick, and this is gonna be more for Corsair here. We used to have a limit on the kilometers of when open fire would start, or maybe after the first checkpoint. Now it's like right off the rip you can shoot. Why did we do that?
Because it was boring as hell. So when we had the further distance from Armistice, especially at the very beginning, because you actually don't see a lot of fire in the later parts of the race, we stopped people even after they left Armistice at Shubin and stopped them even further in the past from shooting, which which technically was a waste of time. Like once you get out of Armistice, that is the emergent part of the gameplay that is already invested into Shubin having its own Armistice anyway, and it was reducing the amount of combat and action occurring. If we're going to have a rule in where you can fire against other teams, we shouldn't limit you even further from not doing that. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of a rule. Like, you barely even use that. The best time to use fire against other teams is immediately at the start of the race, because that's when everyone's pooled together. Like, that's when the action is going to occur. So we weren't seeing enough action in the past, so we reduced that rule to fire happening as soon as you can get out of Armistice to Shubin, and that's as simple as it gets.
Yep. Yeah. Which makes sense, right? But something that I'm going to mention real quick is that because we add the Betty, because we have checkpoints now, and people have to check in with the Betty, even though the beginning is boring, people have to congregate to the Betty, right? So that means that we're going to start, like, in future rallies, people are going to start congregating. So even though there might be no action in the beginning, there's probably going to be action after, because people have to find that line and go to that Betty and then spread out again, because we were seeing action after, and, you know, after the fact, you know, during the race. So maybe it could be something there, but we'll get into that. So, grieving. I put this in here as giggles, and because people were complaining about it. Grieving. What can we do about it? Is there any way to stop this? Anybody can go on
I
this
would like
one.
to answer that one.
Yeah,
I would love
quick,
to answer
man.
that one.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I petitioned Corsair this year to change and take out the word griefing from the rulebook. And I'll tell you exactly why. Yep. It's a hot topic issue. I myself am not a PvPer. I don't mind PvP from time to time, but I'm not a hardcore PvPer. It's not my style of gameplay. However, I've been playing MMOs since MMOs were invented, that long. And griefing from many, many years ago all the way up until today has been defined as a person or a group of people who continuously harass the same person over and over and over for zero reasons. What we have in StarCitizen, don't get me wrong, there is griefing, absolutely. However, what we have with the Daymar Rally is not griefing. What we have is we have pirates and we have raiders. We have agents of chaos who are coming down to just disrupt this whole thing we've got going on. When I describe the Daymar Rally to people, I always like to think ahead in the future to what CIG is going to make and what we expect the Daymar Rally to be. And I explain it to people as Star Wars Episode 1 pod racing, when they start doing the pod racing and there's Tusken Raiders shooting at people, and there's going to be giant battles in the sky of ships versus ships, our security versus pirates versus raiders, and there's going to be ships falling down from everywhere. It's going to be an absolute chaotic mess. And I don't think it's fair to label people as griefers if they're not continuously, like the guy with the A2 on Buggy Server 5, that was a griefer. That was somebody who was coming back over and over and over, targeting the group over and over again in order to disrupt the fun of the other people. But we need to be very careful when we talk about that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you right now, the spirit of the Daymar Rally is there are going to be pirates and there are going to be raiders, and they are going to be raiding the skies, and they are going to be trying to stop you as your team runs across the Daymar landscape. So be prepared for it, trust in your security team, and expect it, because it's there to stay.
Yep. All right. Anything you want to add there, Corsair? For anybody? Everybody good? All right, let's push it on here. Rulebook. This one's mainly for Corsair. Does the rulebook change every year? And why do we do an addendum? Take it away, my man.
So the rulebook changes in some ways, but not ultimately. It doesn't. So the rulebook, like I mentioned earlier, is designed for final game release. There will be some more information, I'm sure, that's delivered by CIG that I'll want to implement into the rulebook, and there'll be new vehicles and things like that. And I update the graphic elements of it, or if there's any major changes in direction for the game that I would try to include in the rulebook. We do a few little updates in the start of the rulebook about why we have added things when we do an update. We are at version 6 right now, so there has been 6 versions of the rulebook over the past 5 years. So yes, it does change, but not so much in the core rules of the rally. The core rules of the rally have pretty much always been there. We have had to make some small tweaks here and there as far as changes to the game, but the addendum is about the current state of the game. We're still in alpha, so the addendum is a separate document that is in conjunction with the rulebook. So the rulebook's got the base rules in it. The addendum deals with anything that is in the current state of the game, and usually it relates to bugs and other elements of the game that we don't need to put in the base rulebook. It doesn't apply to it, and that document changes every year pretty drastically. It also has some reminders in there for you about important things, just to really highlight some critical elements of the race itself. So the addendum will change drastically every year. It'll change. If we did a Daymar Rally every quarter, it would change every quarter. Every patch that comes out, it affects it. And for instance, a perfect example would be the despawn time on Ursas being spawned all at the same time. So that was a huge factor that we had to consider this year. So that would be a prime example of something that would never need to be in the rulebook, but needs to be in this current patch, this current year's addendum, to explain why that is happening at this point in time. So that's the difference between the two documents. The addendum is a bug-related, current state of the game document. The rulebook is the rules, the rule set that we want in the final game.
Yep. Good. Thanks for that. Really appreciate it. All right, let's move on here. There's a lot of things happening. So a lot of people were happy with the alternate members rule, but there were really no clear guidelines about like if people could change a roster the day of in case of any last minute issues of anything. Will the alternate members list come back next year, and will there be better guidelines to it? So I'll leave that between Cor5air and Zol. Answer it briefly. Let's get it going.
So the alternate members
whoever wants
list
to go
was
first.
something new. The alternate members list is something we knew we tried this year. I thought it was absolutely successful. Next year, I'd like to make it a 4-person alternate list instead of a 2. As far as the not allowing changes, I announced for 5 days in a row that you would no longer be able to make any changes to the roster whatsoever at 5 p.m. on. Oh, actually, I said 5 p.m. UTC on Friday. Going against my jerkish nature, I actually went to 5 p.m. my time on Friday and still ran the roster one more time. At that point, I announced to everybody that the roster was locked down and no changes would be made. Those people who rocked up on the day of the rally and said, switch out my alternates, sorry, you had your chance.
So they had till the day before Friday to make that change, correct?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. And that is not in the rule book, right, Cor5air?
No,
It was in the
No.
addendum, I think.
It's
No,
not.
it was, yeah, it was
It's
not,
not-
there was no listing.
yeah, it's like it's a test item really, and it's a rostering thing. It's not about like how you race. It's a rostering element. Like
Race.
it's a preparation element. So it's not a rule book item. Yeah, it's something that we want to explain to you so you know, and technically it could be in the addendum, in the schedule, but also it's going to be in our Discord information area. Would be the best place probably for it. But yeah.
All right.
And like everything
I feel like
else,
it
I
should be
listed it a billion
someplace.
times.
So yeah, it should be somewhere for just clear guidelines and written down, because
Yeah,
usually
to
that's
point-
what
just to
some
point
people
them
want.
to
So
it.
yeah. So we should have that in the addendum whenever we can, and But anyways, we'll move on from there. Maybe like the confirmation form, that would be a good place to put it as well.
Yeah. It was a
people
late
can have
decision,
clear
really,
guidelines
to be
of that
honest.
there. So yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Support ship Cor5air, real quick. Why don't we have support ship respawn in the rules?
Well,
Take it away.
we introduced something this year, and it was in conjunction with piracy and the amount of feedback that we had on that, and we put in a new rule about being attacked and being able to respawn, and also we also asked for you to have an alternate respawnable vehicle support ship that you could bring back in case you couldn't claim your other one back fast enough because you had quite a large support ship. So we actually did have a rule in there that this year, which is also a new rule, it's a test rule to handle piracy and to handle respawning of support ships. But ultimately, like honestly, in the future, what I would love is that there will be no spare vehicles. You will, once your repair comes in, you need to manage the one vehicle. Like you have one vehicle that if it breaks down, you need to repair it and continue with the same vehicle. Spares will be removed. Support will have a slightly different role when it comes to that, but still spare parts is going to be something that they're going to want to carry with that. But the respawning is still something that I think that we want to figure out a little bit more in conjunction with piracy and the fairness of it. It's still a little bit up in the air about what we want to do there. We tested out a rule this year. I think we still want to hash that out a little bit on how we handle that best. To do that, it kind of came at a time where that rover issue was kind of happening at the same time, so it kind of fell in line with that too. So we did try it out this year, but stay tuned. It's not a permanent fixture yet. We wanna hash that out a little bit more. Ultimately, I don't think that. Ultimately, what I didn't want and what I don't want is that you get the chance to have another support craft. Once you lose your support craft, I just kind of want you to lose your support craft. I don't think you should have the option to just keep bringing stuff back in and continuing your race. And us putting that in conjunction with piracy is the hardest part of it. So that's what we want to tackle and handle and have a best ruling for that before the game's fully released and we have a final version of the rally. So we are testing that out.
Yep. All right. Thanks. I'm gonna continue on here. Corsair, this is one's for you mainly. Like I said, guys, we got to keep it going. Why isn't the Daymar Rally multiple days? Everybody's always asking, like, why don't we have one division one day, the next division one day, so everybody can
I would ask,
you know, so go ahead.
yeah, I would ask why would we want to do that when we can do them all in one day? Like, if I've got an 8-hour endurance race that I can run a 4-hour and a 1-hour right next to it at the same time, and we can manage it all at the same time, everyone gets placed, everyone gets, like, why would we want to do 3, 18, 13, and 10-hour day? Like, why would we want to do that?
At the end of the day, I want everybody to be in the same server, racing at the same time.
Yeah.
I want mayhem.
Agreed.
But it's just the time commitment that we've just explained to everybody. It would be such a big deal for us to do it over 3 separate days, to do the same amount of organization on 3 separate days. It would kill us all. We don't actually have the time to do it. Like we said, we all have other things to do. I think it's better that we all do everything on one day. It's a massive, like, party session for everybody to be together. Yeah, like, we want, once server meshing comes in, fingers crossed, that, you know, the ultimate version of that would be everyone races together. Like, it's a big, gigantic one-day event. Like, yeah, that's how we see it. It's a time commitment thing. It's a brain,
a lot of staff, a lot of everything.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of, yeah. It's a big task.
Gotcha.
Big task.
All right, let's
I
move
won't lie.
on from that.
I take a week off after the rally. I literally don't do anything for the next week. That's what it takes me to bounce back.
Let's push on. All right, buggy cooler bug. You guys already know. Why do we allow buggies to respawn and refresh vehicles like the Rover Division? I need this to keep going, guys. So
I can answer that one really fast.
All right, go
yeah.
for
No,
it.
I can give you guys a quick answer on that one. So at the time, we knew about the truck problem. The truck cooler problem has been a problem for multiple years. We knew about it ahead of time. We were trying this out to allow more truck teams to actually make it to the finish. It was mentioned by one team about the buggy. It was backed up by a second team about the buggy, but we have 131 buggy teams. I went to our quote unquote buggy experts and asked them about it, and they said they weren't aware of that problem having any issue. So what we figured is I'll say me, figured that by the buggies all being able to finish in the 4-hour mark, we should not have any problems with the buggies coolers lasting for 4.5 to 5 hours. We figured we'd be fine. What we didn't realize was that it wasn't a 4.5 to 5 hour problem with the coolers.
Random.
It was completely RNG, and some people's buggies were literally dead at the very beginning of the race. Other people's buggies were dead somewhat through the race. And at that point in time, because we had made the ruling that you could not switch out buggies, had we changed the ruling in the middle of the race, all of the people who had quit before then, because their buggies ran out, would have now been screwed out of the rest of the race due to everybody else getting to replace them. So unfortunately, it was a bad call on my part. It affected the entire race, and once we started, there was nothing we could do about it. My apologies. Hopefully next year we won't have this problem. CIG is already looking into it. That's it.
Anything else anyone want to add? Everybody's good?
Yeah, I just want real quick. This keeps coming up as well. Something that I want to answer. I've always wanted to answer. This staggered starts comes up all the time. It comes up all the time. But honestly, staggered starts is actually harder to do because we can do one countdown for everyone. Everyone starts together. We can do that. We can do the counter, and it works for us really well. We can time it better. It's easier to manage. Staggered starts is more effort, time, and organization to make that work well. And it's the same anyway. Like the endurance race is starting the endurance race, you know, early and starting the bikes last and having them all finish at the end. Having all those teams coming in at the end and trying to make sure we get the right placements at the end makes it a little bit harder as well. That's the only advantage I can see from it. I don't know. I don't see it the same way as other people do. But yeah. Anyway, that's just
The
a comment I
classes are
want to
so
make about that.
separated. Yeah, the classes are so separated that the moment that you do the start, the bikes are already halfway done, and the buggies are
Yeah.
already a quarter of the way done, while the trucks are just now coming off the pad.
You can
So it already
concentrate
is a
on the
staggered
finish of
start.
each individual. Yeah, you can concentrate on each of the individual divisions as they finish. You can okay, buggies are finishing now. You can concentrate on just the buggy division. You don't have to concentrate on all divisions and trying to put that on the broadcast at the finish, which it's a harder task to do. Anyway, that's just how I feel about it. But
All right.
yeah.
Thanks. All right, appreciate it. I'm gonna skip this countdown one because we kind of answered it already a little bit about the Discord stuff. So I'm gonna skip that one. So we have unauthorized players. We talked about that a little bit, but I'm just gonna reiterate it. What do we do about unauthorized players in a server because someone didn't wipe their friends list? What do we ask them anyways? Cor5air, Zol, can one of you guys answer that one?
It's us. Yeah, it's asked to be done. So it's it's asked for you to only include people that are listed on the roster or your server leader. Anyone that you don't know in your friends list shouldn't be included. All our server leaders and staff need to do this. It's very important for us to not do that. Obviously, it's very hard for us to control players' friends lists. It's something that we will never be able to control. It's something that can only be suggested and handled by the player, and if they even think about it or read that thing, like, it's a difficult thing to implement, but we ask you to do it, and that's the real answer to it. So yeah.
Yep. Thanks. All right. Anything else anybody want to add about unauthorized players? Everybody good?
Now, the
All
simple
right, cool.
fact is that we cannot control the actual players. So when we ask you guys to do something, if you choose to listen to us, great. If you choose not to listen to us, then know that you're screwing up everybody's time.
Yep. All right. So that was the what went wrong, guys. We're a little bit over a little bit of time. We're gonna rush through some of the ideas and suggestions for the future Daymar Rallies, which is gonna leave a little bit less time here for for community questions. But we only have like 5 people in the Discord right now, which is fine, which is cool. But if you guys want to ask questions, once we start here in about 20 minutes, jump in the Discord. That way you can get your questions or feedback answered. All right. So we're gonna grab people from the Discord. All right. Maybe we'll grab some in chat if the people in Discord are done. So let's get to the next subject here: ideas and suggestions for the future Daymar Rallies. So I'm gonna ask a question, direct it to somebody. Let me know what do you think about it, if it works or doesn't work. We gotta continue pushing it. All right. So here we go. So separating reporting channels, right? So a lot of people were the idea here is to have 2 channels, right? One for the server to everybody to talk for each server, and then one for people to report. So, or even a temporary Discord server. Like that one's gonna lead on Uzo, because everybody thought like when you're reporting and talking at the same time, everything's just gonna go away. So people want a general chat so they can talk to the server leader, and then a reporter channel where they can just report only there. What is the thought of that one?
I will say absolutely no to both. As far as separate Discord servers goes, that is a logistics nightmare, and there's no way in the world that we could possibly get all the people on all the different servers to have all the correct information, etc. It's much easier to have it in one central spot. As far as the reporting channels go, originally the way it was supposed to work is everybody's supposed to go through their own team channel in order to get broadcasts from me. I created the reporting channel because we needed to have a spot for our server leaders to be able to see the numbers going down. As far as you guys chatting in the channel, that doesn't matter because our server leaders are looking at the channel to see what's in there, but they're focusing on those numbers that you guys put in. So as far as something major going on, having you guys report anything in there, like, we're being attacked or our vehicle blew up or whatever, is super important. As far as you guys chatting with each other, it's your own damn fault. Don't chat with each other. Just focus on racing. You shouldn't be chatting anyways.
Yeah, it's honestly being a server leader real quick. It was not difficult. Like the distances come in every 5 minutes from individual teams. It's very easy to find those distances in amongst the chat. Plus, you can contact me and I can handle issues at the same time instead of switching between text channels. So it was fun. It was completely fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it
Next
allows our
one
server
here,
leaders to only have to watch one channel.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fine. That's good. Good for people to know there. So next question, refresh spares. Why don't we let all divisions just be able to refresh their vehicle? Corsair.
Say that one more time.
Why don't
It's
we
already
just
been
allow
answered. You answered it earlier.
all divisions to just be able to refresh all their vehicles?
Well, it was
Let
it was a
everybody
bug related
respawn their vehicles as
thing.
often as they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the vision of the race is to have one vehicle that you have to manage and maintain, not just to cheat and have a new one. So even now that you have spares and you can drop a new spare, which is very similar to what you're asking, it's not actually the intention. What we need repair in, refuel needs to be in for ground vehicles, and then we want you to maintain and survive that race. It needs to. We would like it to be like the Dakar Rally in that aspect, where you have a team and you maintain that team. You're out in the desert on your own with your team, just trying to make it through. You should see as little other stations as possible. You should just be out in the wilderness trying to deal with your team and get to the finish line. So respawning and bringing that out is just boring to me, honestly. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. All right. Weapons, right? We talk about the armistice zone. Is there a possible armistice zone rework since adding checkpoints like the Betty? This goes back, right, to where people are like coming back and finding each other after they pass the Betty to then be able to fire at them at that point. So I'm asking you about that.
The rule book does state, already has stated that there is the 500-meter armistice, player-enforced armistice zone. So when all the checkpoints come in, we will need to focus more on having security available to handle the armistice zones in particular. But you can't attack anyone around any checkpoint whatsoever, and that includes the Betty. People need to have space around that to repair their vehicle, refuel, do the leader chase mechanic, and then move on. All combat and any relation to it affecting another team should be done in the field and not at the checkpoints, and that's what the rulebook states clearly. There is one thing that we want to do is extend the armistice to 1 kilometer instead of the 500 meters, but that'll be about the only thing we do at this point.
Okay, thank you for that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so Q&A. This one's for Corsair Zol. Why don't you answer it? Let's keep going. Would it be possible to start a Q&A maybe earlier or the day before? Like, you know, is there any possible way that we want to do that or not really?
I can answer that one really quick.
Yeah, go.
We cannot get people to even join the server hardly the day of, or I mean the day before the rally. The only reason why they joined this year the day before the rally is because I annoyed everybody a billion times and all their teammates. There's no way in the world we could possibly do the QA earlier because, well, number one, we need to get all that information into your heads and planted just as we're about to launch the servers, so it's fresh on your mind. And number two, we're going to be cutting down on all those questions, so it won't be a big deal from now on, hopefully. Anyways,
I'll also say that the Discord acts as a permanent Q&A all year round.
Correct.
You can just come in there. Zul answers everything. Yeah, Zul's answering questions all the time. Like, it's a live Q&A for permanency. So, you know.
Yep. All right. So, frequently asked questions. Would it be possible to have a FAQ for each Atmo Esports event on the website? So pretty much like having, you know, frequently asked questions about our events, so that way they can go to the website and see it there. Is that a possibility?
Well, I mean, so FAQ stands for frequently asked questions, and the problem is that out of all the questions we get asked, the ones that get asked frequently are like 3 questions, maybe 5. So sure, we can put 5 whole questions on there if you want, but the next year there's going to be different ones and more, and you know, ones that weren't asked the year before. So it's something that would have to be updated constantly. So it's much easier to do it through Discord, where you can just look through all the ones that are already there, that have been up there all year long and been answered, and just get your answers there.
Yep, I would say the same thing, right? Like, the Discord is our community hub. It's your community hub for everything Atmo Esports. So whatever it is, you can go there and find the answer. So if you want to be lazy and not join the Discord ahead of time and don't want to find the answer, unfortunately, that's going to be on you. So, but I think we'll try to do our best to maybe put something up there in the future. So, all right, broadcast, adding more camera crew and more POVs. Me and Enigmatic kind of briefly talked about that. Whenever we're able to have better equipment and better things, that's definitely going to happen. But for right now, we're limited to the equipment we have and the encoders we have. So I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else on that, Enigmatic. Right? Okay. Entrance fee. Why are we charging an entrance fee for our events? Now, I'm gonna answer this quickly. I'm gonna answer this one quickly, Corsair, because I can just push
Yep.
it through. We are in a state. StarCitizen is an alpha. All right, it has zero competitive integrity. All right. Yes, if we charge a fee, maybe we're gonna have definitely a lot less people, and people are gonna have some financial connection to wanting to do the race and being able. But the thing is that the game is an alpha. We shouldn't be charging at all for anything, for any event, until the game is fully fleshed out and out.
It's actually stated. It's actually stated by CIG that we can't actually charge fees for people
That as well.
to enter community tournaments.
Yep.
So we're not even legally able to do it. You could technically do it with in-game currency, but we don't really need to do that either. We're very proud of our free tournaments, and then you being able to win prizes from free tournaments, and we love that.
Yep.
So yep.
They could be other stuff in the future, but again, nothing's fleshed out. It's alpha. There's no competitive integrity. I don't care what anybody tells you
Yep.
on this planet.
Yep.
It's an alpha. Racing, ships, no competitive integrity. Vehicles, dogfighting, whatever it is, zero competitive integrity in StarCitizen at this time. There is zero of it. So I don't care what anybody says. We're not doing esports. These are just fun competitive tournaments for our community. Until that game is fully out, then maybe when we have competitive integrity, then we can call it that. But for right now, I don't care whoever tells you that they're doing esports or not, because this is not it. I promise you that. All right. So, Corsair, why don't we do the Daymar Rally in a locked server? Because we apparently have all the tools to do everything. So why are we doing
Yeah.
the Daymar Rally in a locked server?
Yeah, like it's only really been floated with that being a possibility, but the emergent gameplay aspect of the Daymar Rally is what makes the Daymar Rally what it is. Like we prefer it to be in that mold, and everything that we built around it and built leading up to it was to include the emergent style of gameplay. Like it's got that Tuscan Raider vibe, and from you can be harmed in the wilderness out in the rally. Like it needs to have that aspect of the game included in the rally. I think now, and if you read it in the official lore from CIG, I think it's all about that. It's all about that emergent game aspect and it being embedded in StarCitizen as like this live thing. So when server meshing comes on board and you're out there racing in the dunes, and like there's going to be like barricades around the moon, and there's going to be all this amazing emergent PvP stuff happening in the skies, and like everything happening down on the ground all together as three major divisions with heaps of teams racing at the same time. It's what makes it special. If we locked it out and that was all not available, the PvP community wouldn't like it, security wouldn't like it, we wouldn't like it. It wouldn't be as exciting. It's just it's how it's built. It's what we want. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
All right, thanks. All right, leniency strict. I just need one person to answer this. Why are we too lenient and not strict with people coming up to race last minute? Corsair is.
I thought I was strict enough. I really did thought I was strict enough. I don't think...
We answered this a little bit. Like we are very strict, and there's a confirmation and there's a lockout time for that. We do have other issues where we have kind of created a waiting list of people who have expressed issues with their registration. Just to be clear, we have checked a bunch of people who said that they did not receive emails. I can see that you've opened the email and seen the confirmation email. I can see that.
Yep.
Like that we have that capability. So if you tell us that you didn't, I can see that you did, and that's not going to get you any further. We're happy to put you on a waiting list so that we can handle our rostering for servers, so that we can lock them. Sometimes like anyone who's at the top of the waiting list might get the opportunity to be included, but that's the only way we do it. You're locked out unless we have server issues, and if you lie to us, we don't look on that kindly. So yeah, that's pretty much the state of it, to be honest. Yep.
By the way, I had
Pretty
people
strict.
saying that we don't market the rally enough for them to sign up. I'm like, bro, what?
You gotta
Literally,
go on
I've been
Twitter.
I start marketing the rally on Twitter maybe like 4 months, 5 months in advance. CIG has been marketing it
and all
themselves.
the retweets.
Yep.
So you must be blind. You must be blind, brother. God
I
damn.
always think that people. I always think when people make that comment, they're just not on Twitter and they just don't see it. Like that's the only reason I can explain. We get this up to the week. It's like, oh, I only just heard about this. Can I sign up the 3 days beforehand? I'm like, no, sorry. We've been advertising this for ages. So.
Honestly, the reason why we moved to Discord is to have that better active community, which we've had, and
Yeah.
I've been loving it. Like, so
Yeah.
jump
yeah.
on the Discord. You don't have to have social media. We'll announce it on the Discord when we're signed up.
Yep.
So if you're not in the Discord yet, jump on there. Trust me. You won't regret
And it's also
it.
announced
you might
on
get
our
a lot of
broadcasts.
pings, but yeah. So yes.
I mean, you talk about it on every broadcast, every practice up, starting in June-ish or so. You announce it on every single broadcast, trying to send everybody to the site as well. So if you're watching Atmo Esports Twitch, and looking at our broadcasts and practices, then you'll hear Crucian tell you about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Just jump on the Discord. If you don't use social media, that's fine. Jump on the Discord. That's gonna save you a lot of time. I'll let you know when registration is open. You can ask questions. We got you. All right. But when you come up the day of and ask questions and do all that, then you're just messing up the flow, man. Ask in time. You can take 5 minutes and answer. So, anyways, a new death mechanic. People are asking about that. If a player dies, they get a penalty, maybe like 5-10 minutes, and then they can return to the race. What do you think?
No.
Will that ever be an idea?
No. It's the same concept as the vehicle surviving the race. You also need to survive the race. And using the mechanics of making sure you're topped up with water and food and all that stuff, and that's all part of it. Like it's all risk and reward. Like if you just respawn, there's no risk. Like it's not a big deal. Like you need, just like your vehicle, you need to survive the race. That's what we want. So yeah, that's why we don't have respawn facilities in support craft. So any support craft or respawn facility is not included and cannot be included in the race. But you can have medical supplies on you to kind of heal someone to keep them going. Like you can prevent the death before it occurs. We're happy for that to occur. But yeah, you need to survive the race basically. Yep. Having four team members gives you lives. There's lives there for you.
Yep.
If you got 4 team members and only one survives it, then that's your life list right there. That's how I see it.
Yep. And yes, we don't use Guilded anymore. Discord is a place to be, so join Discord. Shaders. Right, we obviously this is a big thing. People should not be using shaders or reshade in the future. How can we prevent this? Number one, we can't keep track of 500,000 teams. We can't see their screen, so I don't know how we can stop shaders. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. How can we stop it? CIG allows it through their anti-cheat. You can lower your gamma in-game. You can do a lot of stuff with in-game settings that you can do on reshade. So what is the problem with shaders?
We don't rule it. It basically means that we don't actually rule it out. Like you either decide to use it or not. You join them or lose. Like it's up to you. We there's no way for us to manage that information. In a live environment, we could have a set rule for live environment stuff so that no one uses it. We could definitely do that. But in a global setting and an online tournament, it's without receiving information from that PC. Which I know that is possible, but we don't have that capability. We don't have the kind of laws around us to be able to manage that kind of information. That would be very, very. That's a legal situation. We don't really want to get into at this point. So yeah, you join them at this point. I would say. I'm
gonna throw in something real quick. The Call of Duty, the Call of Duty franchise right now, the Call of Duty League. Do you know how they keep integrity in for their players? They have to sign that the league actually has to put a camera in their house that points out of their hands, and they give them a specific computer that they can monitor in order for no cheating to happen while they're at home. Bro, we ain't got that kind of money. I'm going to tell you that right now. We don't have that. Everybody in the rally just like, yo, we got a computer and a camera for us to race? Let's get... No, bro, sorry. So I'm just going to mention that. Like if we can ever have a franchise or something crazy in the future where we want to make sure competitive integrity is kept, there are measures, but the Daymar Rally is for everybody, man. We wanted to make it for everybody, so you're never going to see those measures. So there's no way to prevent shaders, unfortunately. Like, I'm not going to tell all 600, 700, 800 people, oh, turn on your Discord, stream the entire time so we can check it. It's just not going to work,
Yeah.
guys, all right? Be realistic with what you're trying to tell us in these feedback and ideas. Because people are like, I'm going to make sure next year nobody use shaders. How the fuck can you fit? How can we see it? We can't. I'm just saying. All right. All right, broadcasters. Somebody was talking about like the bikes were a bit too easy, and we were saying that they, this is for me basically. That was saying that it was too easy. Look, man, you race for an hour and 20 minutes. I'm not saying it's easy because you can blow up easy on a bike. There is a strategy to it. There is, a complex situation racing bikes, but you're not racing 4 hours. You're not racing 7 hours like the buggies or the trucks, unfortunately. That's all I'm going to say. So whatever I say about the bikes, it is complex. It is a challenge, but you're still not racing 7 hours, my guy. That's all I'm going to say to that. Anybody else want to add to that about bikes being too easy?
No, I mean, we've all been there. We know how easy, because we do this every year, so we know exactly how easy they blow up. We know exactly the skill that's needed for the guys that are, and the girls that are racing bikes, because we talk about it all the time. This is just simply exactly what Crucian said. As an endurance race, the bikes are over really, really quick.
I think it might actually get harder in the future. Like the height restrictions on the vehicles will get lower. It'll be harder to dodge rocks, and it'll be a much more complex race. I think that will occur.
Yeah. Like
that'll be amazing,
man. I'm not trying to bash on the bikes. It's just that you guys, people that have mastered it, race for an hour and 20 minutes, right? A lot of how much of the bikes finished? 19 out of the 36 teams. Zol?
Yeah.
If I remember.
Yeah, it was more than half.
Like, bike may have, the high skill ceiling, but at the same time, the endurance aspect is not there for the bikes. You're racing for an hour and 20 minutes compared to 7 hours. So hopefully, like, in my opinion, I feel like the bikes are, number one, way too fast. They lowered the vehicle so it can feel like a ground vehicle, and I can agree to that to a certain degree, that they lowered the speeds so the vehicle can feel better. I feel like the bikes could also use some of that, because if the Gravlev mechanic is not changed, then like how it adjusts to the terrain is not fast enough because it's going too fast. So that it could be said the same thing, maybe dropping that bike speed to another 50, 30, 40 ms could be the solution for the Gravlev to be able to, but I don't know how the physics work in game, so I can't tell you that, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, anything else to add to that from anybody?
I was going to say, I can tell you right now that the only bike that works the way CIG wants it to work is the Nox. On the Nox, the higher you are off the ground, the slower it goes. So in 318, it goes 67 meters per second. If you lower that sucker to the ground, so it's almost scraping the ground, you're doing 200 meters a second. Now, if you wanted to do the Daymar Rally on a Nox only, and you wanted to go 200 meters a second, you're going to hit everything. And I do mean everything, and it's going to kill you in the first few seconds. However, if you want to bring that bike all the way up, it's going to slow you all the way down to 67 meters per second, and that race now becomes a whole lot longer, but safer.
Splend actually limits it to 150. He doesn't even go all the way up, because if he goes too fast, he's dead. So he limits it to 150. So anyways, moving on here.
Smart.
Website needs to have information laid out better for easier digestion, right? Like Corsair.
So it's an easy one. We are doing a complete website. The website is quite old as far. Well, it's all old. So we are currently looking at a complete rebuild of the website. We were actually talking about it yesterday. So that we got a full rework on the entire website set and everything we do, and it will be probably more succinct. There'll be more succinct parts to the website. It will be an atmo.gg landing page, and then each tournament will be based on that, kind of the way it is now, but in a much simpler way. And we're looking at having our data tied in on the back of it, and improving registration, signups, and all that kind of stuff as well. There's a lot coming. We've been talking about it for quite some time, and we're actually building a small team to help with that kind of stuff. So yeah, just hold in there. It's on its way. We really want to. That's the next thing we really want to elevate, to be honest, is our website platform, because it's really not up to scratch. It's very, very old, and it needs some work. And we totally understand that, completely understand that. So yeah, it's on its way.
Gotcha. All right, thank you guys. All right, last question here. It's mostly a statement. Like the CIG internally back the Daymar Rally or any Atmo events. I'm gonna start off with this. They do by helping us on social media, like marketing the events for people to sign up on, because right, like CIG doesn't have events every single day happening in the servers, right? So, like for people like Saji Sama, Jet Heller, like, groups like SCR, XGR, Atmo Esports, we are creating gameplay that people can continue playing without any events and games for them to continue to be entertained, giving them a platform, giving them a form of community for them to enjoy the game in different aspects, whether it's racing, whether it's ship racing, whether it's PvP. So do they do back us in terms of marketing our events as a community, but they don't back us by giving us servers. They don't back us by doing any of that. Maybe somebody is in the background back there with, like with their keyboard, like, I'm gonna keep this server up the entire time, bro. I'm gonna keep this thing alive, like they're not doing that. Maybe they are, but if they do, we don't know about it. Server wise, behind the scenes, we don't get any of that assistance that I know of. Anybody else want to add on to that?
Yeah,
I was
like,
actually
they do
having
help
a
us out with
conversation.
digital.
Oh, go ahead, Corsair.
Yeah, I'll be real quick, Zul. So they do help us out with digital prizes as well. They do a bit of that for us
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and like, they give us very minimal advice about things coming up, but they never give us hard information. It's vague, and they just try to assist us with a little bit of direction. But it's really not. There's nothing hardcore there, to be honest, apart from the promotion, which is probably the biggest thing. Zul, go for it.
What I was going to say is I was just having this conversation with somebody earlier today. CIG does not directly support Atmo. CIG directly supports the entire racing community of all of StarCitizen and its players. And what I mean by that is I've been here since day one. In the beginning, which sounds ominous, in the beginning, when they first brought out Arena Commander, we had racetracks in Arena Commander. The racetracks in Arena Commander are really, really awesome, but they got sort of set by the wayside a little bit because there was other more important things to work on. Fast forward to the last, we'll say, year and a half. We know for a fact that CIG watches our broadcasts and XGRs and the Crux Cup and anything put on by scr.gg. We know that they tune in to see,
or by the community in
tires
general.
falling
Sorry
off.
to add that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
or
I
just
am
the
by
community.
in
And
general.
what
Yeah.
they've done in the last year or two, the amount of support that they have given the StarCitizen racing community in general by bringing out the Snake Pit. 318 has got, what, 6 new tracks in it? They're bringing out tools for the racing community to be able to use. There's now in 318 a brand new stopwatch timer that shows up on your dashboard in your UI that you can actually time yourself when you're doing these things. All of these things are directly benefiting everybody, not just racers. It's benefiting everybody in the community because it gives everybody a chance to do more things, but it's brought on because of the racing community and because of all of the dynamic emergent gameplay that all of these different groups have brought out. And so, yes, they do support everyone, not just Atmo.
Yeah, but like I said, man, like CIG's main thing is to make the game, not to be like, they do all that support for us, whether it's digital prizes, and they do it for everybody else, digital prizes, whatever it is. They do it for all the community events, man, not just us. We, like there's a lot going on that a lot of people don't know. Like, and I'm gonna say the last thing here because we're about to move to community questions, right? If you have an event that you want to promote, we have a section in the Discord for that. Come talk to me. All right, come talk to me. I'll put it on our socials. I'll put it up there. Like, we are not excluded to ourselves. I want to empower the entire community events. I don't want to just do ourselves. I just literally put out look, I'm going to read this really, really, really quickly here because I literally put out a team announcement, all right, to my entire, to our staff, to our members, to everybody. And I said this is word for word. I want to point out that everyone is welcome to help other communities. I don't want anyone in the Atmo Esports community to feel like they have to choose between XGR or Atmo or whoever else is out there, right? Or any other community running events. The community is for everyone, and we're all in this to grow together. So if y'all ever need advice, information, we're always here to help, to elevate the entire community, not just ourselves. And I really mean that. If XGR needed help with something, I got their back. If somebody else needs some advice about the community stuff, there's no secret to what we do. We will help. I've helped out other places to cast. It's just people are too scared to come and ask, right? So, like, we're here to elevate each other. I'm not here to step on other people. XGR does their ship racing, which is incredible. We don't even touch ship racing. I don't want to touch ship racing. We have our ground racing stuff, we have our PvP stuff, and we have some other stuff coming up that hopefully is going to excite the community. But for out of that, I'm here to elevate the community. I'm here to share my passion with everybody else. So, anybody else got anything else before we jump into some community questions?
No, we're good.
No? All right. So, just putting it out there. All right. So, we're going to get community questions. We're going to start off in Discord. If you're in Discord, ! Discord, jump in there. If we don't see any requests, put some questions in chat. But if you are here on the Discord and you want to ask a question live on stream, so that way when we put this up on YouTube, everybody can hear, please request to speak and we'll bring you in. You can ask your question, and whoever it goes to, we can get it answered. If there's no questions, then damn, I covered some good stuff. So if anybody wants to jump into Discord and request us talk, please feel free. If not, if you are in chat and you have a question for any of us on the panel, please just drop it in there in parentheses or something. So if you got a question, let me know. But I feel like I covered the feedback. Like, I took all the detail out of it. But yeah, man, like I took all the details as much as I can so people could kind of understand and break down the show so that way every single person can understand what we go through to start an event, especially of this magnitude, what we do on the day of, what we do before, and all the feedback that we just gave. So if there's no questions, then I did my job. Damn. So
there was a question on Twitch of who has the best hair, and I'm absolutely pointing right up here. That's the best hair right there.
Guaranteed.
Also, I want to make it clear that if you want to be if you want to be interviewed on stream with the question, you got to raise your hand in the stage.
Oh yeah, if you want to speak on Discord, you gotta request or raise your hand or whatever it is, and then we'll bring you in to speak, and then you should be good. But yeah, man. I mean, is there anything else? Yeah. Is there anything else anybody wants to cover that we haven't covered? Anybody here else here on the panel? I feel like we covered a lot. We covered a lot of detail. I feel like we did very, very well to cover hopefully all the questions and all the answers for everybody. But just know, man, that yo, we love y'all, man. Y'all are incredible people, and we love this community. And the reason why we put it in, and I sometimes get so passionate, is because people don't respect our time and don't respect what we're doing. And I'm not gonna say that's gonna lead me to ever not wanting to do events, man. Trust me, it's gonna fire me up to do to make it better and even better and even better. That's what it's gonna do. It's not gonna pull me away. It's gonna pull me in more.
We got two. We got one on Twitch and we got Sanji in Discord there. So feel free to pick one of those.
Let's get Sanji on here first. Sanji!
Yeah,
sorry. What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, man. Just state your question or feedback, and you can just point it to whoever's on the panel.
Well, this has mostly been Daymar Rally stuff. Is it okay to ask System 7 questions?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Because there's a question I put into Tournament FAQ about if we have two people attempting the qualifiers and only one of them manages to qualify, is it possible for the person that did not qualify to be signed up as a backup in the qualifying team?
Well, sign-ups occur before qualifiers, so you have to sign up as a team. So that should answer that question. If you're trying to create two chances for that one team to qualify, then then I would say no. You would have to pick your best racer that you would think to go into qualifier, and then enter as one team. Because signups occur before qualifier. You need to register before qualifier. So yeah, it's built that way to not do that. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have another
I would just
question about
Oh.
the track submissions.
Yes.
I feel like I remember reading somewhere there was something about some of these might be for System 7.
Yeah, so I'll answer that one. I was supposed to do a tournament or a contest for track submissions, and just there's so much time in the day, man, that I just kind of like, once I started the screenshot contest back in December, I just said, you know what, let's just let that one go for now. When that one's done, we'll do the track contest. And to be honest, with all that time in between, it's just kind of let go of me a little bit. But in the track submission channel, where you're trying to say about that, if we see something good, it definitely has a chance to be in the System 7 not for this year, because we already have that list, but for the future, it could be something that we use. If that answers your question.
Yep. Cool.
And I would just like to say
Thanks,
that
Sanji.
I nominate Sanji as the most annoying questioner of all of Atmo, because he asks me the weirdest, craziest, out of the world questions. Like, on the third Tuesday, if the blue moon is over Uranus, can I then shoot a guy in the eye with a straw? And I'm like, well, I don't even know how to answer this question.
I mean, it might happen.
Thanks, Sanji.
Love you to death,
Sanji. Well, thank you, man.
Well done.
Hey, thank you, man.
Let's answer Bionuke's question in Twitch chat for them.
All right, got it. Yeah. So the question is, have you thought about changing the date of the rally? Right now, it's set at a kind of tough time with CIG on holidays and in meetings, with also a possible patch going live around then too. So, Cor5air, since you want to answer that, go for it, man.
Yeah, each year we do a schedule, and we traditionally, yes, we have kept it in January. It also coincides with the Dakar Rally happening at the same time. So kind of, I like the symbiosis of the two. We have put it back a week, which has actually helped us with the organization of the rally this year, which I much prefer. As far as putting it into another portion of the year, it could well happen. It would become down. Each year we do a schedule for the year, and we look at the entire year, and we fit everything in, all the practices, all the System 7 dates, which is a huge commitment. System 7 dates is like 2.5 months of dates. So that's a big portion. Where CitizenCon falls, we do activations now for Toby, so where that falls, and we don't want to do it before Christmas. It's not a good time. Coming out of Christmas is also actually, not the easiest time either, so that wouldn't really rule it out. Honestly, I haven't thought about it. I like that it connects with the Dakar Rally at the start of the year. It kind of gives us a little bit of breathing space between November and January during that Christmas period. It kind of gives us a lot of space from the community to kind of get the confirmations in and the rosterings started. So it does feel good as far as organization and having space during the rally. But honestly, I don't know when else we would do it. Anyone else got any ideas around a date change or a preferred date change? Yeah, like there's going to be three other patches that year as well. So, it's always going to be a problem.
The problem is no matter where we put it, Cor5air is going to end up in a place where there's a patch out. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like if the patch doesn't come out early enough, it's gonna come out later. If we move it to February, the patch could come out at that time. If we move it closer to the early January, then once the holidays are over, we're just scrambling. So it's hard.
The biggest thing is like you don't want to come out of organizing the Stand 7, the finals, and go straight into the rally. Like you need that 6 weeks buffer beforehand, and it kind of sits well at the end of the year to have a 6-week buffer rolling into the start of next year at this point. Yeah, Zul?
Yeah, I mean what Cor5air is saying is exactly true. I know that Atmo Esports as a group takes off the month of December for vacation, but the 4 people that you guys see right here do not. I work through the entire month of December every single day to make sure the rally can happen on time. So moving it to a different time actually kind of messes that up a little bit. The other big thing is that we took the System 7 this year and we moved it forward in the year because last year it ended up falling right in the middle of people trying to do their summer vacations with their families, when lots of people travel all over the world and stuff. So we actually moved the System 7 this year forward in time so that it ends just about the time that everybody starts going off on vacations. So we can't move it any later into that area as well, or else we mess up the System 7. And I know not everybody does, not everybody who races the DR is also involved in the System 7, but we have to respect both groups of competitors.
Yep. There's a lot going on, guys. So I think wherever we put it, there's a chance a patch comes out or something happens, or there's Luminalia, there's the Aero Expo, like bro, like the Intergalactic Aerospace IAE. There you go. It's there. Bro, I swear my brain's dusting right now.
Expo.
But yeah, so there's
So close.
and then there's what's the other one? The UEE event. I forgot the military event that they do every year.
Yeah, the Fleet Week. Fleet Week,
yeah. They do that too. So like, look, man, like the Daymar Rally is in lore. I don't feel like it should ever be a private tournament or competition. It's gonna be always open. But things like System 7, that's private. Things like Fight or Flight, that's definitely we definitely want that stuff to be private, to have the highest level of competition. But it's all gonna be about like how CIG does with vehicles, what happens in the future, And I know once Rangers come out, we're gonna be so screwed for the rally. Oh my goodness,
we're gonna have a fourth division.
We're going to have so many people in the Daymar, bro. We're going to have like Buggy's team are going to be like 133. We're going to have like 500 Ranger teams, I swear, bro. And guess what? Rangers are going to be so volatile. People are going to be like, okay, we respawn our Rangers. Hell no, man. It's going to be the same rules. No matter what the vehicle is, unless it's exploding, we're going to have the same rules. No respawn. You got one life. You get as much respawns of vehicles. It's going to be the same thing, guys, all right? So don't expect too much craziness happening. When CIG changes something, we evolve and we adapt. All right? Not the other way around. All right? They have a game to build to finish, and that's what we want, because when that game is done, then we can kind of figure out more things in the future. But for right now, let them finish their game. We want, SQ42 to come out, obviously, whenever it comes out. We want that stuff to go out because, a lot of people don't believe me when I say that when server meshes it in and they have all the development tools ready, watch things get pushed out so fast that people are going to be like, man, what's going on here, bro? We got like 4 systems in 3 months. Watch. Believe me? It don't matter. I just feel like once the entire back-end IT, development areas are in place, it's going to be zoom time. Just like what happened with World of Warcraft. So, anyways, no more questions. It looks like, can we have a Daymar running race? No. Anyways,
we've done it. We actually did it. There's one question in there for Zul as well, from Ginger Bomb as well, which is it's a good question. It says, for Zul, what in your opinion do you feel after the last rally do you think you would change that will make impactful changes for next year, in brackets, to encourage returning races?
Thank you so much for asking. We're actually already working on that. So I think that there's two big disconnects that we have between the competitors and the logistics side. The first one is that when we send you guys the registration form and ask you guys to confirm all your information, the way that we have that set up right now ends up creating a whole lot of additional work on our end. So we are actually already in the midst of redesigning it and making it so that it will be more complete for you guys to do, so that when we get the information from you, it's set up in a way that gives us less work. That's the first one on our side. The other one is, and I know this is asking for the impossible, but the other one is read the information we put out, listen to what we tell you, ask any questions you have. I will honestly tell you that on the last week and a half up to the rally, I was getting between 300 to 500 DMs a day. That is from the time I wake up at 5 a.m. till the time my wife gets me off for dinner about 6:30. I was receiving somewhere around 500 DMs a day. And so many of them were things like, hey, can I get my alternate people in? And I would just start trying to send everybody to the FAQ, and I'd be like, your answer, your question is already answered, please check the FAQ. Your answer is already answered, please check the FAQ. And having the competitors be respectful enough of our time to do us and all of the other competitors the favor of thoroughly reading out the information that we give to you and asking well thought out, intelligent questions that haven't been asked before is probably the one thing that would make the entire rally run smoother and quicker. It really would. As far as the returning racers go, I honestly believe, because the big thing about StarCitizen is there's a Twitter account that I follow that lists every day how many more people have signed up to StarCitizen. You can look at the graphic that Crucian put up earlier and see that the amount of new teams that we had was almost triple the amount of veteran teams. And that's because every year we get people who've just found out about StarCitizen for the very first time, or just found out about Atmo Esports and what we do for the very first time, and are pouring in. So if we have veteran competitors, people who've been around at our events that are, and when we had some of these, which I love these people to death, when we have competitors who are veterans of our events, sending people on my behalf to the FAQs and to the information posts and that kind of stuff, it just makes everything go smoother, because then everybody is hopefully prepared before we get to that point.
Gotcha. All right, man. Great questions, everybody. Thank you guys all so much. And like I said, man, this podcast wasn't, to brag or to, like it becomes sometimes flustered. We become flustered, or it's frustrating for us because a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So this, again, this is not for us to brag. This is for us to let you know, like, we care, we love the community, but look at what we have to endure 4 to 6 months in advance for one event for you guys. That's all I'm saying. So respect us a little bit, respect our time, respect the effort that we put in to create this emerging gameplay for the entire community, whether it's the racing, whether it's everything. So that's all I'm saying. But anyways, I'm gonna give it here some last words, no more questions. I feel like we covered everything very, very well. This is probably gonna go up on YouTube. So what's up, YouTube? How you doing? I didn't forget about y'all. Any last words? We're gonna start with Enigmatic, as he's just been sitting there, putting his forehead in the camera, doing all that good stuff. So Enigmatic, any last words for the community, my guy?
I guess if you put together an event, come check it out, or come spread it at the Atmo Discord so people can join. It's fun seeing XGR, SCR events, Crux Cup tracks here at Atmo, and we love looking at these new tracks, trying them out for ourselves, and then watching the events happen.
All right, Zul.
Yep.
Any last words for the community out there?
Yeah, mine is something that you guys have probably heard me say every single time I've ever appeared on camera on behalf of Atmo Esports. We can only make these things possible with the help of the community. We need people from the community to fill all roles. That means that we need volunteers. You can actually go onto our Discord and you can see posts and comments by the amazing people who already help us out through all these things. And I wish I could list them all because there's so many of them. If you would like to help us out as a camera person, if you'd like to help us out as a server leader, if you are great with spreadsheets, if you want to take over my job on Discord and do comms for us, please, anybody, God, please, anyone. If you want to take over Discord and do comms work for us and answer all the questions, all you have to do is just go to our Discord. You'll find a spot that says looking for ... Underneath it, you'll see one that says ... Atmo volunteers. Say in there, hey, I want to help out doing something, anything. We always need camera people. We always need people that volunteer and help us out. And if you're not into racing, but you are into assisting the assisting the StarCitizen community, we'd love to talk to you. And I promise you, we can find a spot for you. And I love our team. That's what I want to end on. I love our team to death.
Our beautiful managing director. I have to call you beautiful because you over there, you got the Tom Cruise jacket the other day when I was in Australia. I was kidding. Go ahead, man. Any last words? You got the mustachio,
Yeah, I will say, and enigmatic, it's a good sentiment, is that, you know, we do support, and we would like the community to support racing as a whole, and not just Atmo Esports. I think the racing community is strong, and we support each other, and I think it's such a fantastic community. Like, we've been fortunate and lucky to run such a fun event. Like, I think it's slightly unique to some of the other things that are out there, and the team aspect of it, and we love it, and we appreciate the support. It's very humbling. You know, even getting an email from Jet Heller the other day, and, you know, his appreciation is just off the chain, and Sanji's done the same thing in the past, and it is humbling to get that feedback and know that we are headed in the right direction. We are doing some good things, and I know that we make some mistakes, and like, you know, we're trying to do what we can with the limited tools that we have, and they are limited. We don't have a big budget. We do what we can with what we have, and we're just trying real hard. And we want to make it to game release. And I will say that Atmo Esports will never disappear. We will not go. We will always stay there and create races. I think that's one thing that you can trust in Atmo Esports. We've been doing it for 5 years. We got a solid team. I just don't think that, you know, we have that in us to just put it down and head off into the sunset. I think we're really here for the long haul, and I love it. I love this team, and we've got such a great group of people. I'm talking about the greater Atmo Sports volunteer team. It's just an incredible group of people and a little family. So thank you all for listening to us talk about a whole bunch of crap and trying to listen to us explain why things occur. It's extremely important to us that some of you have rocked up to listen, and it's lovely to see. So I thank you all, and we look forward. System 7's coming up real soon, so we're straight into that right now, and yeah, you'll see the full leaderboard details coming out very shortly, and merch emails, you guys, and, you know, let's keep this ball rolling. So yeah, man, Crucian, back to you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, like everybody says it already, right? Like, thank you guys, man, especially like the staff, security, all you guys, man. Like, without this shit, you know, it wouldn't happen. I'm very outgoing. You know, I love talking to people. I love being with the community. I love casting for you guys, man. Again, all for free, man. I love this shit. There's no other community that I've really, other than maybe the WoW community, because I used to be involved in WoW since 2004, since Alpha. But, man, this community has really grown into something incredible. And it can be incredible. It can continue to be incredible if, you know, we continue being good to each other and respect each other. So, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, guys. All right. You know, like Cor5air said, we're here. We're here to love it. But before I let you go, let's get down to those sponsors, baby. Yeah! Yo, Enigmatic, get some Toby up there. By the way, I want to thank Toby for sponsoring Atmo Esports. Big thanks to Toby, man. They've been supporting us. Toby is great, by the way. If you don't have Toby, all right, change the way you play StarCitizen. And go grab yourself a Toby. !Toby in the chat. Click the link. Appreciate you, okay? Do that. And then next is going to be our merch. If you don't have, guys, that helps support, man. It'll help us make that back-end website. It'll help us make all that stuff. Look, man, bro, wrong one, bro. Come on. It'll help make that back-end happen. It'll help, you know, kind of lift Atmo up. You know, I'm not begging. I'm just letting you know. Merch is hot. It's good quality. We got some con options, okay? Go grab it. Don't miss out. And, you know, I want to see, dude, I don't know what we're doing for Citizen Con yet, but whatever we're going to do, I want to see a flood of Daymar Rally jerseys, Butterfly jerseys, whatever it is, okay? If I got to pay for it myself, I'll pay for a restaurant. I just want to do a big Atmo Esports get-together, and I want to see everybody in their freaking jerseys, man. That's what I want to see. So, for Citizen Con this year, I hope to see all you guys pimped out, all right? Like Pimp My Ride style with all your Atmo jerseys, please. Jerseys, hoodies, whatever it is, man. I would love to see you guys in them. We work hard on this merch. We work hard to put everything together. Trust me, it's not easy to do all this stuff, but we like doing it for the community, and it helps us get to that next level. Again, whatever you purchase, whatever you buy, it just goes right back, all right? And then the last thing, man, we got, you know, Gamer Advantage. Remember, use code ATMO. If you ever think about getting some new glasses, give Gamer Advantage some love, man. Use code ATMO, save 15% off. I promise you will not regret it. I've been using this for 3 years. After I left the Navy, I was prone with migraines, all that good stuff. I was all messed up. I got some of these, man. It really, really helped me live a little bit easier. I'm not gonna say that I don't have migraines, but I live a lot easier. Zol lives a lot easier. Enigmatic lives a lot easier. Corsair has 20/20 vision. It don't matter. So, and then lastly, our newest sponsor, big shout out to CLX as well. Thank you so much for sponsoring Atmo Esports and really believing in what we're doing here at Atmo Esports. So, exclamation CLX in chat. Go check out clxgaming.com. You know, and kind of, you know, handcraft your own build, your own PC with build, you know, with them. I could understand if you can build your own computer, but if you're lazy, you don't want to build your own computer and you don't want to get all the parts together, go check them out, man. They'll take care of you. Go back to full screen. So, everybody else in chat, thank you guys so much. You guys have been absolutely incredible. This is the best community, gaming community on the damn planet. There's no doubt about it. Okay? Hopefully, all of us can see you at CitizenCon. I'll, you know, if you want a hug, I'll give you a hug. If you want a handshake, I'll give you a handshake. But other than that, thank you guys all so much for your support. We'll see you in the verse.
See you guys.
Get us out, Enigmatic. That's the cue, man. Hit the button.
Where do I go to?
Button, bro.
He missed the cue.
Just
Missed the
end
cue.
No,
it.
like, what do I go
Ending.
to?
Oh my god. Just
An ending
go
screen.
to something else. End it, bro. Go back to starting soon.
You know what? Everyone, look at these cool stats.
Oh.